All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the second episode of the Monday Night Wav Podcast. I'm your host. I go by Jay. I'm a music producer for about 13 years, and I have a passion for professional wrestling. Um, Today we got my host. I'm gonna let him introduce himself as well. First episode we didn't have a host. Second episode we did some testing, and we decided to go with a host. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass it off to my bro here and have him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, my name is Hero, and what do you want to pod about? I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk wrestling. I'm also, I'm not a producer, but I have a passion for wrestling. I got back into it around 2015, and been in it ever since. And yeah, man, I'm excited.
I like it. So, all right, so before we get into it, I'm gonna ask you your intro question, which is, what got you into wrestling? Like, what was like the moment for you that was like, oh, that was it? It just pulled me in. Was it like family? Like, what? Explain your situation.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. All right, so I have on my dad's side, I have a cousin, and his side of the family, they love wrestling, and I grew up with the negative, the negative view where, oh, it's fake, all that stuff that people just love to say, even to this day. But one time I was at my aunt's house, and she had cable, and I caught the end. It was the end of one of the Raws where I think Stone Cold saved Stephanie McMahon after she was about to be hung up because Undertaker, the Ministry of Darkness, or the corporate ministry, was hanging people, crucifying them, and then
right.
After that, like, I saw the bald dude, I saw the goth monster man, and I was like, I'm hooked. I was absolutely hooked. And then SmackDown came out, and that gave me that allowed me to be able to watch it because I did not have cable. So like Thursday Night SmackDown was my thing. Every Thursday I had a DiGiorno. My parents left me alone. I was like, I want a pizza. I want to watch wrestling, and that was like my routine for the longest time.
Yeah. The funny part about like the UPN days is that like UPN was also like a network that had like a lot of like black TV in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so you watching like, Moesha or the Parkers, and it just heads into like SmackDown. And you're like, oh, this is perfect.
Right.
I'm here. I'm already here.
Exactly. And then they also had some good animation too. There was like home movies, a couple other like random gems. Yeah, UPN, man, we were blessed back then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, cool. So for all the listeners, if you're watching this or you're listening to it, I had episode 1 planned out. Episode 1 was supposed to come out on my birthday, the 27th, and the day of Rumble, and I was super excited for it. Around Thursday, we had got wind of like the Vince allegations, and it was some foul shit in there. It was some foul stuff in there, things that I didn't necessarily like, nor did I want to overshadow like that like Mrs. Grant's whole like case. Like, I felt like, hey, the world needs to know about this, and I do not want to attach like my first episode to a dark day or a dark weekend, because there's a lot of questions speculating. There's a lot of like answers that we were looking for from WWE, answers that we're kind of still looking for because they didn't really answer too much at the press conference. But I wanted to like kind of distance myself from that. So if you're listening to us now, episode 1 should be right next to episode 2. You kind of get like a 2-for-1, which is kind of great. And yeah, that's all we really want to go into as far as like that, because it wasn't nice in there. It was some sick shit for sure.
Yeah. Even if only 2% of that is true, that is a nasty man. Those documents are it's wild. And prayers to her and her family, and hopefully any other survivor and or victim that from that nasty man. Hopefully some more light comes out, some more truth comes out, and
yeah, absolutely. Because like as you said, nasty shit, nasty individual. Even like just as far as like talent and understanding like the politicalness behind like certain moves. Understanding that even as talent, like the way like your boss could be looking at you and you don't necessarily know. I know, like, I feel for the victims. I feel for some of the talent. I feel for everybody who's kind of like had no part of that, and like now it's like, damn, bro, I work for this company.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we're gonna push past that, and let's talk Rumble real quick.
Oh man.
We had met up a little bit, actually the day after Rumble, to talk about it. So like, let's break it down a little bit more. How did you feel about the Logan Paul KO match or KO like feud?
I'm loving it. Logan is one of those people you love to hate and you hate to love, because that man is a natural.
He is.
Never been a fan of him personally, but when he got into the wrestling business, it seems like he's starting to grow up as an adult also. Granted, he is still a troll, but yeah, no, like in-ring wise, on the mic, yeah, he's the future, him and Dominic. But yeah, no, as far as the match goes, I thought it was a banger. I mean, KO rarely misses, and in Logan rarely misses, and has not had that long of a career. But ever since that first tag match, I was like, oh, this boy's goated. And then like his third match was against Roman in Saudi Arabia, and he did all that stuff with a messed up leg or whatever injury he had, and I'm like, okay,
the knee injury, yeah, he did have a knee injury. And
then fast forward, he had a match with Seth, so it's like he went against Seth and Rogan in his first year and a half, and also Miz, who Miz doesn't miss either. Miz staying here, yeah, and so yeah, I have faith in that. I have faith in him, and that match was good.
The match was definitely good. It was better than what I expected to be. I had this thing where like it takes like maybe me seeing you like 2 or 3 times before I'm actually like really paying attention to you. And I feel like for Logan, it was like one time he just came in the ring, like, dude is just a natural, bro. Like you almost like, there's no way you should be this good. And you had like, the whole YouTube and everything. Like, this is a YouTuber. This is like a celebrity they brought in for like views and little pop and whatnot. And now he like a mainstay.
Yeah.
I think it was last year's Rumble. It was the spot between him and Ricochet where they just both collide from rope to rope. And I was like,
amazing. That was some anime.
Yeah. That was some anime shit. It was like, yo, I ain't never seen nobody do that. Like in the history of like the high flyers we've seen, where it's like the RVDs, the Rays, like, super cools. Like we've seen like people jump off the ropes, but never to like that extent.
Yeah.
As far as like their feud, it's like I feel like you kind of need to have one wrestler hold a belt, like at least for like the mid cards. Like you have your Gunthers hold like a belt, and then on the opposite end, you need like your heel to hold a belt. They rarely do both, like wrestlers, if that makes any sense. Like you need like your heel and our strong leatherback wrestling ass motherfucker,
right?
And I feel like go ahead, my bad.
Oh no, man. I was just gonna piggyback. Like, you mean like a technical wrestler versus like a powerhouse person versus high flyer type.
Exactly. Like there's just different like the word I'm looking for is like themes, but I don't think it's themes. Like there's different styles of wrestling that they hold for each belt. Right. And Logan is definitely in like the heel category, similar to that like of like a Miz. Like, so it's really cool to see like that evolution process for him. And the fact that like he has heat, like he's hated. Like people don't like him. He's so comfortable in it. Like that's the crazy part, is that he's really comfortable being hated.
Yeah, if you can get past the wet chants in your first couple promos, then you're good, because it's the wet chants be messed. They like, that's how like someone's still not really comfortable on the mic. Like when Damian first joined Judgment Day, he had some wet chants, and like you could tell he was getting flustered. But like, Logan Paul, like you said, Logan Paul was like, he embraced it. Like he grew up a YouTuber / Vine. Like we live in the internet age, so there's always trolls. So I feel like that's probably where he got a little advantage from. Where it's like, I get booed all the time, whatever. But he really embodied and embraces it.
The finish of the match was the brass knuckle spot, where like Logan's gonna hit KO with the brass knuckles. KO gets it, pops him, right? And the part that catches me is that this is like the most like socially aware referee I've ever seen in WWE history.
Yeah. I do not like the finish. It was funny, and I like the beat down after it. But you're absolutely right. Like it's and it every promotion like randomly has these random matches where all of a sudden the ref is just super cognitive. It's like, oh, like they break all the rules. I think it was a match like the other year in AEW, like the ref heard the chair shot. and then he disqualifies him, and it's like, since when do refs hear the chair shot?
Here,
You know. So then, so then him seeing the brass knuckles, that doesn't indicate any guilt. You know, like if this was court, that doesn't mean, that's just circumstantial evidence. But it was okay.
For sure.
But
for sure. Like it was funny to see, like I think it was like 1, 2, and he pokes his head and he looks and sees the brass knuckles on his hand. I was like, ain't no fucking way.
No, man.
This man had like craziest detective skills. Like as he caught it in the corner of his hand and all this momentum, he just saw that. It's interesting, but I understand, like, you got to stretch the story out. I think they want to have, Logan carry it into Mania, which I think is a good idea. I think with like this upcoming SmackDown, they're going to talk about who like his challenger is, and as like we get closer to Mania, it's trying to start like really like dialing like your match cards or your cards.
We're starting to see seeds planted, and I just saw it was a couple hours ago. It was released that he's going to be on pretty much every SmackDown between now and Elimination Chamber, I think it said, or after Elimination. So yeah, he's going to be he's not going to be a part-time, so he should be on every show, which is good.
I like it. I like it. We're going to get into SmackDown, so I don't want to go too far ahead. But so we'll go off of that, and we got the 4-way between Roman, Randy, LA, AJ. Like, what's the thoughts? What's the initial feedback from that?
Well, okay, so from my perspective, I mean, it was about a 15-minute match. It was a good match for what it was, but I think it's one of Roman's weaker defenses. Like the tribal combat match and the Cesaro match, and then this match, I would say, are probably like his 3 least interesting defenses for me. But it was still, people, and it looked like Randy got hurt early on, which I feel like might have cut it a little short.
Right.
But people were getting their shit off. It was like, when it comes to those kind of matches, it's because I was watching with people, and it's fun to make those kind of bets. I was like, man, we're gonna get at least 5 Superman punches, at least 3 RKOs, 2 phenomenal forearms. Like, so it's fun to call those kind of spots. It was a fun match. It was a bang bang match. I feel like it did what it was supposed to do, but I wouldn't give it 5 stars. But it's a good notch on his belt. It's his first fatal 4-way, and he was against big stars, and I mean, he came out clean. It was a good match.
So for me going into it, I was like, I had this thought, like, even before like the Fatal 4 was announced, I was like, man, we haven't seen a Fatal 4-way in a really long time. Like, those used to be like, marquee, like, let's throw our best 4 and just like go at it. So when I announced it, I was extremely excited. I was like, oh, this is really cool. But for some reason, the way I watch wrestling is like, I analyze everything, like almost to a point where I super overanalyze shit. But they were leading with like AJ turning on LA Knight early, right? And so like I was like, okay, well, going to this Fatal 4-way, like at no moment is AJ gonna let LA Knight pin, and vice versa. Like they've been beefing like hard this entire time, and so that broke it down. It's like a math problem for me. It broke it down to where it's like, okay, well, I know AJ and LA Knight are probably going to do something after this, right? That would make the most sense for me. And then that just leaves Roman, Randy. And I was like, well, there's no point in Randy actually dethroning Roman, not this early. So then I kind of like just deductive reasoning, like, okay, Roman's going to win this, right? But it was a matter of how he was going to win it. I think, like you said before, Randy got injured a little bit early. And I honestly think it might have been that crazy ass RKO spot, which was like, I think like Roman was going for the Superman punch, and he just turns and just snaps. Just snaps the RKO on him, and he lands on his shoulder. And hopefully it's all like, it's all a gimmick. It's all a work. If it's all a work, they did a phenomenal job. But from the way he was holding it, I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I live from the philosophy where it's always work until it's not a work. But I don't think that was a work. Honestly, I feel like the reason why it was a Fatal 4-way, besides that LA Knight was still hot and AJ needed something to do, I feel like one of the reasons it was a Fatal 4-way is because I don't think Randy, I mean, I don't know anything. This is all speculation. I don't think Randy is like super, super healthy. Like the only back bump this man has taken is literally just RKOs. Other than that, he hasn't taken any bumps at all. So I'm like, is he like, I don't know if he's really that healthy. And I feel like him getting a little hurt I mean, I don't know if maybe something got exacerbated or something, but yeah, I feel like and we'll talk about this with a theory I have, but I feel like they put him in that fatal four because he's probably not super cleared, or well, not that he wasn't cleared, but yeah,
I, I, yeah, it would be interesting to see like when like the Elimination Chamber match card comes out, or like just how like they build up into Elimination Chamber. Um, and even with that, like Randy doesn't even have to be a part of that to be like in like their plans. But we're gonna see. I think was he on SmackDown? I don't think he was on this past SmackDown.
No.
Okay,
Shoot,
cool.
was AJ? I don't. Yeah, I don't. Randy was not for sure, and nothing's came out like no medical anything or has come out that I've noticed or seen. But.
Yeah, like we have like no news on anything. So this once again, people, you listen. This is all speculation. This is us just shooting the shit on it. From there, we got the women's Rumble match. Bailey ends up winning that. Eliminates Liv as the last like two women in the ring. Overall thoughts about the women's Rumble was that like it was good. Like that was my favorite match of the night, and it was a very short match card. I think it was only 4 matches on the match card.
Yeah,
I went in. It was short. It was
that was a short match. Yeah, compared to other match cards, especially since Triple H's reviewing. Yeah, this was probably easily the shortest one. But I mean, Rumble, the Rumble match, both of them are like over an hour, so
yeah,
it makes a little sense.
To slight like tangent on that is that like it's just interesting to go to like these premium live events and like 75% of the titles are not on the line. That's just a little interesting to me. It's like going into like this is Rumble. You talking about there was no United States title defense, there was no IC title defense, no tag belts. Like none of the women had their matches at Rumble.
Nope.
Like it just feels a little off to me that like let's say you're a consumer, you're paying to get in, you're gonna watch the Rumble from the building, and one title is defended. That seems a little weird to me.
Well, 2 titles, but either way, it's not. I wouldn't.
It was 2 titles. Yeah, it was 2 titles. My bad. Logan did have his match.
I mean, seeing a Gunther match would have been fire.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
He does not miss.
But going back to the women's side of it, I like the women's Rumble, and we had talked about this briefly. That my like problem with the women's Rumble was that there wasn't a lot of pops for women. Like I think with like the new entrance music and not seeing a lot of the women, you kind of don't have an attachment to anybody.
Right.
Even with like with Trin or Naomi, is that like they played her old gimmick, her old song, so people were familiar with that, and that generated the pop, right?
Right.
But had she came out with a new song, you'd have been like, well, who is this? And then pop, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense.
I think there's a lot of women that I would love to see a lot more of. Just get into like anything. I went over like the just title history or title matches between EO and Rhea, and like they do a lot of like house stuff, like a lot of house shows. And they defend a lot at the house shows. But as far as like on TV, we don't get to see a lot of that. And you also don't get a lot of like building of certain women, like where let's just, for example, it's like let's throw Shotzi. It's like, where's those matches that make Shotzi look strong? She ain't got to go for the title immediately, but maybe it could be a beef with somebody over here that's building up her character, building up her like her momentum. That way it doesn't get squashed immediately if she does challenge Rhea and she loses, or she challenges the EO and she loses. Like we got to build like the momentum for some of these like women. That way, like when they have those title moments, they can still carry that and not be like on the backside,
Yeah. No. Yeah. Totally. I think to go back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, and we'll comment on what you just said a second ago. But I feel like a part of it with the women's Rumble, because like you said, we did talk about it. I feel like a part of it is some of these women, like a lot of like some of these songs are extremely bland, and it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to tell who's coming out. like for example, Piper Niven had that new song. Her song sounded exactly like Valhalla's because you have those Viking drums or whatever.
I
You know,
noticed that. I peeped that.
and
I
then
peeped
like it's like even though I pay attention to NXT, it's like I couldn't recognize Roxanne's music. I like Roxanne. Roxanne Perez is amazing, but it's like some of these songs don't hit. And also in this particular Rumble, besides like the Jordan Grace, besides the Naomi, there wasn't like a Michelle Cool or a Mickey James. There wasn't like any, or a Lita. So there wasn't any. They didn't use any of their legends or anything to get a legend type pop. They were strictly, which I do kind of give them a thumbs up for. They were strictly trying to use all the talent that they had, except for the TNA guest. But yeah, again, we got to do something with the music. CFO or whatever it is, they miss more than they hit. And a lot of these songs are just bland.
With that is that like, if your music's bland, and then no disrespect to anybody, I say this with the most respect possible, but if like we're also not connecting with like certain gimmicks of anybody, or if you don't even have a gimmick, it makes it really hard to connect. Like,
right. And that's where
you gotta have something.
Yeah, and that's why more people do need time. And it like right now we're in a weird time because it's WrestleMania season, so it's like all the stories and seeds that they've been planting, like that's what they're going to focus on. But was it in January? I don't know. Like Michin had a match against EO, and Michin showed like she's gotten better. Like there's the Becky and Xia Li match, like they are trying to give some women a chance. It's not as consistent, but like now we're in the WrestleMania season, like the grill is on, so it's like whatever stuff that they've already been setting, like these are the stories about to get pushed, and unless more injuries happen. But
it's also kind of like that's interesting because like the Michin match was great. I did like that match, but I also don't like how like she also currently gets booked to just like not necessarily job, but she's losing, right? So it's hard to like, damn, like, Michin's dope. I like the character, I like the OC, I like what they're doing, but why is she losing? And I think like once you pair them against people who are A, about to debut, or B, already a solidified superstar, it's like, okay, nobody's gonna believe you if Michin beats, Becky. And I feel like in wrestling that shouldn't even matter anyway because it's all predetermined,
right?
So if that's the case, well, let me see a Michin versus a Xia Li. But the issue with that is that how do we engage like audience retention? Like, do you want to see that? I would love to see it just because I love wrestling, but at the same time, you throw it on TV, it's like nobody's invested because nobody knows or cares for these two gimmicks and whatnot.
Right.
But I want to see like if Michin can't beat your top. This is all example. Much love for Michin. But if she can't beat your top superstars, then give her a mid carder, give her a low carder, give her somebody who's just trying to work. Like, let me see that she can be strong. Like that's all I want to see.
Yeah. They need to invest more in stories for people that aren't wrapped around titles.
Right.
And I don't like if they actually develop the women's tag, for example, like that would help actually having legitimate tag teams and actually having stories around that. I mean, for years people have been clamoring for like a women's mid card. That would be cool, but if it's the same thing as the tag, then it's not gonna matter. Then it's just work. Then it'll just be a prop. They just need to. We need to have it story like, and that's it kind of reminds me of a problem with Charlotte. Like, it's hard to have Charlotte have regular stories because every single story she's in, for whatever reason, involves a title, and that's what makes people not be interested in her half the time. In the other half, we love her because she's amazing. But it's like we need some of these people need storylines that's not just like has anything to do with the title. Like regular people need to be doing regular people shit.
Right. The issue that comes with Charlotte is that if Charlotte's in a promo or any kind of like segment without a title, it's kind of like out of place. It's like, what the fuck is Charlotte doing here? Like, this should be like a title shot with Charlotte's name attached to it. But the thing is that like we're so accustomed to seeing Charlotte with gold that it probably wouldn't feel right to see her without it, like unless it was against, let's say you do Charlotte Tiffany Stratton, right? And you're just like, this is a young uppercomer. This is the OG who's been holding it down. They just beat the hell out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. But you need certain individuals, certain talent to do that. And I don't think WWE also wants to throw, Tiffany to the wolves, which is Charlotte, and then she loses her stock. We gotta balance this out correctly.
Yeah.
To go back to the women's rumble, for the ones who were stars, they definitely showed out.
Oh, absolutely.
We clearly knew who was the ones in the rumble. So your Becky, your Tiffany Stratton's,
Jade Cargill
Bianca,
looked amazing.
Jade Cargill is looking solid.
Nia did great.
Nia did great too.
Yeah, since she's been back, I want to give her props because I mean, I'm not a Nia hater, but I am a very constructive criticism. Okay, no, she's been solid since she's come back. She's been solid, so I got to give props to her on that one.
Yeah, Nia's it was the first time we watching Nia oh, this looks strong. She looks strong. It looks like the word I'm looking for is cohesive. It all the eliminations make sense, the camera shots make sense. She looked really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even the feud with the brief segment with Jade where she got eliminated, it was this could work.
Yeah,
I would let me see Nia versus Jade.
Oh yeah, please.
And I'm sold on that. I think that'd be really cool. Even the spot that there was actually a couple spots in the Women's Rumble, the Jordan Grace Bianca, which was
yeah,
man, I wish you could see that more. That's
yeah,
for somebody from outside of a promotion to have such a you fit. It wasn't oh, you're from TNA. It's I watched Jordan Grace damn, she need to be on Raw on Monday.
Yeah, no, it looked like she's been working. I mean, she's a wrestler, but no, it looked like she was been working there for a while.
For a minute.
She had chemistry with everybody. Yeah, she had great spots. She looked like a star.
Absolutely. And that just goes to credit that maybe we just got to check out TNA, which I do plan on checking out TNA. If
they just don't have
thing's for sure,
they just don't have a consistent channel. I don't know where to watch it.
I'm not gonna lie, because I did the same thing. I was man, where the fuck do I watch TNA at? But they have something called TNA Plus, which is $10 a month, and you can watch the entire catalog of TNA. Which that's where I'm gonna go check it out. But yeah, it was on Access. I was what the fuck is Access TV? We ain't got that over here. Where do I find this shit at?
Exactly.
But yeah, the Bianca Jordan spot, the Bianca Jade spot looks great. There's just so many good moments in the Women's Rumble that you can definitely spin off a couple storylines for.
Yeah, and it was a great. I mean, the last 3 Women's Rumble. I mean, to me, they've all been pretty good, but this one was fire.
Yeah,
it was fire. Good storytelling. It was good. I enjoyed it, and the right person won, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bayley getting it was I was okay with it. And even the first episode, when people go back and listen, I think Bayley was my choice. Bayley was a great choice because she's been holding it down.
Mm-hmm.
She's been holding that. You need a segment, Bayley will hold it. You need a rivalry. You need a villain. You need a TV show, a Ding Dong Hello.
Great show.
She's holding it down.
Yeah, and she was one of the she was one of the MVPs in the pandemic era as well.
Yeah, absolutely. She deserves it for sure. And I think the route she took against EO with the damage control storyline, it all makes sense. That's just it's gonna play out perfectly. I think that's gonna be a great moment for her. With that, we're gonna transition into the men's one, which it was definitely another interesting one, right?
Yeah,
because no legacy, no legends, no surprise pops. I mean, we had had Andrade come back, which I love Andrade. I think Andrade is great. I wish, as of right now, I wish both promotions would have handled him correctly, because I think the man is naturally just fucking talented. I think he has it. He has the charisma. He has the wrestling ability. Hopefully this third time in WWE, the second time in WWE, like he gets the push that he actually needs.
Yeah, well, he's one of Triple H's boys. I mean, he was cooking before he got released or whatever happened. He was cooking for a bit. Like there was that time when he had the U.S. and him and Rey Mysterio had like 3 classics back to back.
The latter one,
zero reason. Like they was going off on SmackDown, like putting on a 5-star match on a random SmackDown in like Alabama.
Yeah.
Like okay, but yeah, it's going to be interesting because he won't have Zelina. His English sounds a little better.
Absolutely,
because that was his biggest downfall, was just he couldn't cut promos really. But no, his in-ring wise is phenomenal. And with the new regime, it seems like they don't care about people trying to speak English. Like that was a VKM thing. Like
there you go.
Like we got Shinsuke dropping full anime bars in full Japanese with animation in it. The Io Sky, Asuka, and them. So yeah, I think it will work.
Yeah. I think that with the whole like the English is not holding you back, which I also feel like is stupid anyway, because like, bro, if you can wrestle, I don't care.
Right.
You can go out there and throw out 5-star matches and not speak one lick of English, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting because it's like, WWE but you hear rumors like, oh, they want so and so from New Japan. And it's like, well, this dude's English is not the greatest. How do you like plan on connecting with the audience? And I understand that in WWE, it's a lot different than like a TNA or AEW, where like their production's not solely based on promos,
right?
To where you can throw out, somebody from New Japan, they just wrestle and don't say anything, and we're just cool with it. But WWE is so much like production in it that you kind of like thrive off of promos. But I like to get away from that. I think that's cool. Like the Shinsuke in full Japanese, dope.
It's amazing.
It is. I love it. I think they were running like this whole like his anime style promos, like with the animation drawn in it. I was like, damn, like this feels like some anime shit. He going off on Cody. Like, this is dope.
Yeah, it's fire. And I like how they've been implementing the subtitles. Like that one time when Asuka and Io were cussing each other out, that was hilarious. With the way the production, with the way WWE does produce stuff, and now that they're breaking away from, you got to be able to carry a sentence, then I think it's gonna work because their production, they have some of the best production ever. Like they can make it like, when I die, I want WWE to make my video package.
What's funny about that is that like they kind of took the stance on, well, if you can't understand them, you better know how to read.
Right?
You better read this shit. It's hard.
Yeah, and it also gives the performer the chance to like with Shinsuke. Like when I first saw Shinsuke and when I first saw Asuka, when I first saw both of them in NXT, even though they didn't really speak that much English, they like the body language is a thing. It's called body like, and it's called character. It's called presence. Like the King of Swag style was like, he didn't need to speak a single word because he was swaggy as shit. That's all. Like, and then Asuka too, like the Emperor Asuka's gonna kill you. That's all I needed. So
Asuka, like when I first caught with her, I think like the initials that she was undefeated in NXT.
Yeah,
and I was like, I need to check out NXT for a little bit. So I went down, like watched a couple matches, and soon after she got brought up, I think she ended up winning the Women's Rumble, and then she gets brought up, and I was like, she has it, like visually, the mask, the coat with the colors. It was just like, this is what you want in like a wrestling superstar. Like, English be damned, she got it
exactly. And then in all the Japanese talent has that. Like, it's a weird. I don't want to say weird. It's a. They have an aura about them. It's just so like they're so cool. Like even like Kari, like Io doesn't have a character per se, but she's cool as hell. Like her character is she's cool as shit. Like her, like Kari and Asuka, they just dance and it looks goofy, but no, it's really cool as hell. And they got that shit on. Like they're fitted too. Like they're just really cool.
They are.
They're really cool people. Like they just have an aura. Like,
even with Io without the title, and she comes out with the coat with the hood and the 808s is hitting and the entrance music, and I'm like, oh yeah, she got it. Like this is dope. You don't need the title because you're naturally cool. Like your shit is fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, but we derailed. Men's Rumble.
Yes, you got to go back. Men's Rumble. I think Cody had came out. I think it was like 15 or somewhere around there, 15 or 16 or something like that. And going into it, you know, my winner was Punk. I thought Punk was going to come in and, like, you know, be pushed to Mania. Punk versus Seth makes sense. That's where my head was going.
Right.
To see in the end that it's Cody, and not Punk. How do you feel about that? Where does your head?
I mean, I thought the right person won on that one. Like Cody and Bailey were my picks. I like. And it was one of those things with Punk and Cody. It could have went either way because of, you know, elimination. I was assuming, like, if Punk did win, Cody would try to be in elimination chamber. The reason I chose Cody was because it was the easier route to get to Roman, since they're technically on opposite shows, and also now he's in rare company as the fourth person to ever win back to back. Like, to me, it was like, that's a good story, you know. And, you know, if the goal was to have that rematch, which we'll get into that later when we talk about SmackDown, if the goal was, you know, to have Roman Cody 2 in Philly, like, that was, to me, the easiest, like less messy way to handle it. And having him come out early, as opposed to last year when he came out 30 or 20, or it was 30 or whatever, it makes it, it made it not as easy as a win. And then with Punk and Gunther, like, he had a lot of opposition to go through to go back to back, which, again, like, he's only the fourth person to, like, really ever do that. So to me, the story made sense, and I was happy with the choice. Now, when we talk about SmackDown, we'll get into that later.
For sure. We definitely got some bars to get off.
Yeah, but I thought Rumble was a solid pay-per-view. PLE, like, Triple H has not missed. I mean, he's made some questionable calls, but I don't think he's missed. I can't remember a PLE this where I was like, oh, this was weak. I wish I didn't spend 4 hours watching it. So, yeah, at least yet.
I can't remember which one. VKM came back, and kind of, like, you can tell, like, VKM's fingers was on it.
Yeah,
I don't know which pay-per-view it was, but it was just a certain feeling. I was like, this don't feel like Hunter. Yeah. This feels very orchestrated. I don't like it. But needless to say, you're right. He hasn't missed. All the premium live events have been great. I think the right man did win. I'm cool with either way. I'm cool with whoever wins. Got, like, the whole idea of, like, fantasy booking in my head. It's once again, it's one of those deductive reasoning things. I think the final four was Punk, Drew, Gunther, Cody. My bad. And Gunther got icy. I think they're trying to get away from the double championship thing, so Gunther wasn't going to win. We don't need that no more.
No.
Drew, being the fiend that he is, I want Drew to get his spot and get his moment back, because being a champion or having your rise during the pandemic where people were just trying to live, I think a lot of people missed out on, like, how special Drew is. So I definitely feel for Drew in that sense, that, like, you're just trying to recapture that essence and show people that, yo, I was right here. Because when the pandemic happened and he won Rumble in January, nobody cared, and rightfully so, because the world was in a fucking shit show. But, like, it's kind of hard to recapture that spirit. Yeah. So hopefully at some point Drew gets what he's looking for, because Drew's a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, Drew's amazing, and I mean, I was still watching heavily. Actually, I got to be on one of the screens for one of the Raws, or no, I think it was a SmackDown during the Thunderdome era. But yeah, no, you know, I feel it. At first, he was coming off really whiny, but now that he's fully transitioned into this heel role, and he's hating, I'm loving it. But the first couple of weeks, when he was like with Sammy, and, you know, maybe you're wrong about Jey Uso, you know, all that stuff. He's coming off whiny as hell, but now, like, now he's like on his player hater shit, and I'm here for it.
I'm cool with it. Jumping into the player hater shit, we'll transition a little bit, because Rumble Punk gets injured. He tears his tricep.
So Raw. So Rumble ends, and then Raw starts off with Pat McAfee joining the show. How do you feel about that?
Pat is great. I was a huge Pat fan, just from his podcast. Like I like listening to like football podcasts and shit like that. And Pat had a really good podcast. And at that time, he was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the wrestling world, and I was cool with that. But I think because Pat's officially going to be on Raws now, right? It was him and Cole.
Yeah, him and Cole, which is a great team. So.
Which I think you need that. Raw. We all know that the way the business working is that SmackDown is your primary show. That's your moneymaker, right? So Raw needs to have something that keeps people engaged in it as well. And I think Pat does phenomenal on commentary. He's funny as hell. He says the most outlandish shit. And you kind of need somebody from outside of the wrestling world to talk about, like, where is Sarah Logan's shoes? Like, just little, like, intricate parts about the matches that us as fans are going to ask or want to know. And Michael Cole necessarily won't say.
Right. And he bring the thing I like about Pat, because I at first I was annoyed when he showed up at Rumble, because last year when he showed up, after you took a hiatus from doing college football, like when he showed up last year at Rumble, it seemed like he wasn't paying attention to the product. Like he was just kind of talking, and it didn't seem like he remembered niggas' names or nothing. This year when he came back, like I was like, it seemed like he had that passion in him again. And then, to piggyback off what you said, like, I mean, Raw's a 3-hour show. And I mean, Michael Cole is one of the greatest, and Pat has that, like, he has such a enthusiasm when he commentates, which is what makes him exciting. So like when he's locked in, I love Pat McAfee. When he's like halfway in, halfway out, that's the part that annoys me, because then it's just, I don't know, it's weird. But like when he's locked in, Pat's amazing, and him and Cole are a great duo. And he brought life back into Cole. Like, so,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here for
absolutely. Anybody to get Michael Cole to like break like consecutively is like, that's a good partner for you to have, for sure.
Exactly.
With that, we get into Punk, and Punk comes out and he's talking about, like, his injury. And first off, Punk is a wizard on the mic. Like, the promos, like, this dude, like, he throws out is solid. Like, growing up, I wasn't like too big of like a Punk fan. Like, I didn't watch a lot of it because Punk was also, I believe, on Raw for a good majority of like what I seen growing up. So I didn't get to hear him. I seen like straight edge society Punk and like, the heel side of it, and I seen Pipe Bomb, but I wasn't really like paying attention to promos like that growing up. So this second reiteration of like Punk coming back into the wrestling world, I've been really paying attention to just how he talks, how his presence on the mic, how he conducts like his slight remarks about somebody if he's beefing with somebody. But this promo in particular, I was like, yo, like he's spitting, because he's talking about like, his fan that's going through like or not fan, but his friend that's going through like the chemotherapy, and how like, no, that's a fighter. Like that's somebody who's really going through it. This, I'll get over this. But like, those are the people that really go through shit in life. And I was like, I'm sitting like, damn, this dude about to make me like tear over here. He's really spitting like, yo, like,
it was very passionate promo, and the part that got me was in the it might have been right before that. It was in the very beginning, because he was like, I wanted the main event. Maybe this just will never happen for me. And then he continued, like, it seemed like really self-defeated, and then he turned it back around to where it's like, oh, I kind of want to go to war with you now, bro. Like it's
absolutely. Like he gives you like the football coach promo. It's like, all right, coach, like, yeah, we're gonna go do this.
Oh yeah, please heal up. I want to see what you bring back. And then Drew comes out,
the player hater of the year, to open up with like, I'm not really a religious man, but I prayed for this. It's nuts, bro.
I slept like a baby. I was like, oh man. Hey, yeah, Drew.
I was like, hey, yo.
Drew, he was ready to let that shit fly. He had like 1,000 Twitter drafts.
He was ready to go. And that's the funny thing too, like what he's tweeting right now is like, whoever's with him, or if this is coming off the top of his dome, Drew's on a whole nother level.
Oh yeah,
like the working out, the triceps, playing the Meek Mill. I used to pray for times like this. Like that's come on, bro.
It's good. It's good. It's good shit.
That is top notch heel work, man. Oh,
Yeah, in my notes I have CM cutting super face promo. It was that was yeah, it was because
yeah,
after Drew says all that shit, CM Punk like and this goes back to his mastery because it's like you can see in his face is telling the story too because like
exactly.
when Drew's saying all that shit he's like, man, I prayed for this, I wish for this, I hope for it. Like you can see in Punk's face he badly wants to fight him, but he knows he can't right
For
now.
sure. For sure.
He like, and it's like the way the conviction, like, man, wrestling when it's good, it's effing amazing. It's
Absolutely.
so amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then yeah, he cuts a face. He's like, like, and I love this is and ever since it was like a year and a half ago, the WWE got a continuity writer to actually pay attention to things, and they need a raise. And I'm excited for when Punk comes back. Like he made it exciting because he's like, when I come back, you're the first motherfucker I'm coming after. And
I'm coming for you for sure.
And that's what I want. I want that's good character stuff. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. You're looking forward to it. That like Punk versus Drew is gonna be some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect in the meantime Drew to just go on this tandem of just heel work.
Yeah.
Like I want to see true Drew heel work. I know he has a contract coming up, but I don't know if I haven't seen anything if he re-signed or not, nothing like that. But I know before he was it's up in the air right now.
Yeah.
And as much as I love seeing wrestlers everywhere, I think Drew definitely fits the WWE mold. But if Drew gets in the bag where he wants to go to AEW and he wants to like be a grappler, he wants to start wrestling, I'm cool with that too. Whatever makes the talent happy, I'm gonna be a fan regardless.
Right.
From there we have I think it was the DIY versus Judgment Day. And in my notes, I have it's the best tag team match I've seen on TV in a long time.
Yes. Real quick before we get to that, as Drew and Sam started beating each other up for a little bit, or Drew was beating him up, and then Sammy comes out.
Oh yeah,
the super baby face save. No, you're good. I just had it in my notes. I just want to get that out there, and it's setting up because Sammy's never beat Drew. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Mania match, or if it. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get something down the line. But Sammy has never beat Drew, whether he was heel or face. So I think that was getting set up. But all right, to go back to what you're saying, I had another note. I love when Finn speaks Spanish. Turns me on. I love it. But yes, that DIY, which okay. I don't know if you noticed because ever since Kevin Dunn left, they've been slowly changing the production stuff. And so they've been doing a lot of backstage promos, like walking as talking and walking.
Yeah.
Notice though, there's some new graphics, like the graphic that came out that happened right before Punk came out or right before Cody came out. They've been changing the graphics. Yep. Some good shit.
It's funny because I've noticed that they got like the whole. It gives me the where you watch like NBA games and people coming through the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like. It gives me like that vibe where you can see like people's fits and everything, and you can kind of tell that's still very new to a lot of the talent because they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
they just sitting there like talking, and then like they look away for like 6 minutes while they're walking. But I think as you get more comfortable with it, you're gonna start seeing a lot more character come out. Like when they give New Day they chance to do it, and they out there just doing their thing and being colorful, like you're gonna start seeing a lot more people having fun with it. But as of right now, it's definitely a new thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how. Who adopts that style and uses it to like enhance their character a little bit more.
Exactly. Exactly. And because Kofi later on does have a great backstage promo. It was short and sweet, which we'll talk about that.
He does.
But DIY in Judgment Day. I wanted to say also that slowly, week by week, DIY, which I mean, I've been an NXT person, so I've always effed with them. But like, as far as like the mainstream crowd goes, like they are slowly getting over week by week, and it's been working out. Like it's working for them boys because 2 months ago, I mean, not that many people really cared unless you were a homer or whatever. But now it's like that match. And I talk about this match a lot. I wrote a bunch of notes. It was absolutely fire. You were 100% correct.
Yeah. I was like, because typically, like, I got to have some kind of, like, investment in it. Right. I was like, let me just, let me tune in for a little, let me try to focus up. And I focus up. I'm watching. And these boys is going. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to see, like, once again, like, some of Triple H's guys get the push that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because, to be honest, like, DIY and Ciampa and Gargano should have been, like, mid to main Carters a long time ago. Like they have a history of taking the roof off of NXT.
Yeah.
Like,
And if
so
VKM was still in charge, they wouldn't be getting 20-minute tag team matches, you know?
which is unfortunate, but it's true.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I like it. I think you are absolutely correct with the fact that they are getting like pushed, week by week. As we see, they're getting closer and closer to those tag titles, which hopefully
They need to split those up.
we can. Yeah, that's where I was going. Hopefully, we can get a separation of the titles at some point
expeditiously. Like either like merge them and create some new ones, or just split them up. Because there's
Yeah.
so many tag teams that are just. And this was my problem. Like this was my problem with Roman having 2 belts, and even though the Uso story was great, like I was like, please, KO, Sammy, get it off them. Like there's so many people in limbo that's not doing shit.
Yeah.
Like New Day, they're doing something now, but we got Pretty Deadly. Like SmackDown has a really good tag team set. Raw
Pretty
has
Deadly's dope.
Yeah, I love Pretty Deadly. Raw got good tag teams. You got the Creed Brothers, DIY. Yeah, list goes on. But yeah, sorry, continue.
We definitely need to like split them up so that way we can like once again it's like when we're talking about the women's division, just develop tag teams.
Yeah,
like let's get back into the era of like looking at the tag team divisions like anybody can get it. There's a time where like it's Usos, it's New Day, it's Viking Raiders, it's Bludgeon Brothers. Like we have so many like tag teams that are like holding it down. It's time to like get away from just throwing it on like 2 stars, if that makes any sense. Like the KO and Sammy, I don't consider them a tag team. I consider them 2 stars who have the belts. I don't think they give me like tag team, like that's not their identities. Pretty Deadly, their identity is that they're a tag team. Usos, you are a tag team. New Day, you guys are a tag team. KO, Sammy, not a tag team, just 2 superstars with the belt. And I consider that the same thing with like Judgment Day. Even though Judgment Day is a faction and they are a team, they do not give me tag team vibes, especially when one of them got Money in the Bank.
I feel it.
But yeah, love the match for DIY. I think there's like isn't there some kind of like tag team tournament going on where they're trying to figure out like
yeah, I think that started on Sunday, or Friday. Was that Friday?
Okay,
I think it was Friday because that's the. We'll get into it when we get into our SmackDown notes, but I think it started on Friday, and then this next following Monday we'll see. Wait, what day is it? It's Sunday. That's tomorrow. So tomorrow we should see who wins the Raw for that, and then those 2 teams fight, which is cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hopefully we get more tag team work. I want to see a tag team ladder match pretty soon. I think let me see. I'm gonna see 2 belts hanging up and somebody fall off like something.
Man, I want to.
That sounds a little like pretentious, but
no.
As a fan of me, tag team belts are synonymous with like TLC's ladders and tables and shit like that.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that's how I used to feel about the IC for the longest time. IC had a ladder match every Mania for like the longest time. It's just like, all right, here's the IC ladder match.
Next segment, we get the promo from your boy, the Monday Night Messiah.
Oh wait. No, before that, Truth gets jumped.
You're right.
Truth,
At the end of the match, Truth gets jumped.
Yeah, Judgment Day cuts a promo.
Oh,
Truth comes out, and he's like, "Wait, what did he say? You have my." He says, "I have my word. I won't attack you." And that's what Priest said. But Truth was like, "I did you guys' taxes." Priest is like, "There's no way you know what any of those words mean."
No. I invested your crypto. Yeah. Truth is amazing. Yeah. And the thing is, like, the man's like ability to control the audience and not be a main superstar should be studied. Like, anytime he comes out with any person, like, it doesn't matter who he's in the ring with, you're gonna have a good time with Truth there. I don't know where they're going with this though. Where do you think they're going with Truth and Judgment Day? And like Miz came out to save him. Like, is Truth the reason why they lose the belts? Like, what do you think?
How would you? Okay, if the Awesome Truth reunites again, and they are the ones to dethrone Judgment Day, I wouldn't be mad. I'm trying to imagine what the internet community would be. I wouldn't be upset. I just need these belts split, honestly.
Yeah,
I need the
by
belt split
anybody.
before I feel like that happens. Unless truth is the way to split the, I can see him doing like them winning the belts, and he's like, I just got rid of these. Like
Right,
Miz is looking for the blue titles. He's like, oh, I gave them back. I can see that
right,
happening.
right, right, right,
I can. That's a really comical way to do it, but I wouldn't be mad at it. But yeah, I think it's going to probably set up a match. If not at Chamber, then before Chamber. But they already
That
did
would be
fight, but I don't think it was for the titles.
it's like Truth and them win the belts, and Truth being Truth just gives a belt to a tag team on SmackDown. Like, oh yeah, I just got rid of the other ones.
Yeah,
Like
I could see
that would be
that.
kind of interesting.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah, after that, there was a quick women's match: Zoe and Shayna versus Piper and
That didn't
Green.
happen.
It,
Yep.
it was fine. And then yeah, and then boom, Cody comes out, or Seth comes out.
Which was again another great promo.
Yeah, as a Seth stan, the internet, like these jokes is going. I'm gonna let these jokes fly. But Seth is looking like, man, he's looking like a real pick me, and I can't get jiggy with that.
Okay.
He's like, just like when we get to SmackDown, Roman's like, I ain't gonna beg you like the other guy. Seth is sitting
Bro.
here putting all these video packages on a day-to-day basis. Pick me, like, bro, what? Bro, I don't like it. It's making my guy seem a little too desperate. But yeah, overall the promo was amazing. Overall, the promo was good.
The thing with Seth and like his title, and honestly, I think Punk's injury changes, the trajectory of a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think that had Punk not get injured, it would have been Punk Seth, and that's what you would have got.
Yeah, that was the match for sure. That was the
absolutely. But inside the promo, he's talking about, this is the blue collar title. This is the workman's title. This is, this is not the part timers, the full time, champion of WWE. And it made me think. I was like, damn, you're right. Like, Roman not really there. Seth is there every fucking night, right? Day in, day out, hobbling on the knee brace.
Yeah.
Like, he's still coming into work.
Rumble is the only pay-per-view since he's won the title. It's only PLE that he's not performed or defended anything. He's
right.
Yeah, he's been at every single PLE.
And I asked myself, like, as I'm watching, like, do I want Cody versus Roman too? Like, is that something like as the wrestling fan in me, do I want to see like semi wrestling from one really good wrestler and one part-time wrestler? Or do I want to see two dudes go crazy? Like, even though Cody has the win-loss record against Seth or whatever, it would be a different feeling. Yeah, he definitely 3-stocked him. It would be a different feeling on like the Mania, on like a bigger level. And I think if they did do Seth Cody, that you would have to do something more than just your regular like singles match, because we've seen it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a Hell in a Cell too. I can't get jiggy with it.
But I was like, what makes the most sense? And this is at the time before I knew anything that I know now, but it's like, does that make sense? Like, Cody comes out of Rumble, points at Roman, I'm coming for you, Roman. And then the following Monday, Seth's like, nah, take me. Like, choose me over him. Like, you don't want that. You don't want the politics to come with that. You don't want to be on Friday nights and have to deal with like the ins and outs. You want to hold it down over here.
Yeah.
And I get it from that standpoint, because SmackDown is that. When you go to watch SmackDown, you're watching the spectacle of SmackDown. You're going to get jumped by Bloodline. Solo going to thumb you like 4 times a week. That sounds crazy, pause. But like, it's, you don't really get to control who you fight and who you don't fight, or how your matches go. You can kind of see how a match in SmackDown is going to go based on how it starts. Like, oh, LA Knight's coming out to fight Solo. Somebody's interfering. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to do something. And then I thought about, the record that Roman has, and that like he's so close to breaking it. Does it make sense for them to drop it at Mania for Cody? Like, you already made it to 1,300 days or 1,200 some days or whatever, right? why not just finish it out? Because you're fucking less than 80 days away. Just finish it out at SummerSlam or a little past that or whatever, and then drop it. Because it doesn't make any sense to be this close to breaking a monumental WWE record that they talk about all the time, and then he just drops it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I understand that. I feel that. Our friend D talks about that a lot. DT, and I see that on the internet too. It makes like to me, I don't care about Hogan. Honestly, they didn't start talking about the Hogan record thing until a year ago. I mean, they have recently just started saying, at least I noticed it on Friday, that he's the greatest champion of the modern era, and I feel like that's enough because he is the greatest champion of the modern era. Do we need to wait another 80 days of this man not showing up when we have literally President Cody Rhodes here kissing babies and whatnot? Like, we gotta.
It's true.
We gotta.
But like I said before, it's like you already at 1,200 days. What's 80 more days?
Yeah.
We done.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's like there's been high school freshmen that done graduated and still saw Roman. Like that's like we done already. You already here, you know.
Yeah,
just wrap it up. He can drop it at SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever the case may be, and like get it done that way. But then I also thought back on like a side tangent of that was like you said, like he's the greatest modern champion, and everybody before him weren't part-time champions. The people who hold those records were there every night, day in, day out, sometimes 3 times or 4 times a fucking week. So we think about like the Brunos and the Hogans and how much they're using, fuck Hulk Hogan, but like just in general, like they were there day in, day out. Like, does it make sense for the part-timer to break that record? Is that not disrespectful to like, you know, the legacy of WWE, quote unquote?
Oh no, I mean, it's a made-up sport. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, to be as respectful as possible. It's all made up. Like, I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful, especially. I mean, Bruno and Hogan are notoriously not good human beings, so I don't know. But as far as that part goes, but yeah, no, I mean, if they want to break the record, that's fine. I just don't see why they would have Cody win again. And which we will also, I have that same question with what happens in SmackDown. I don't see what the point of having him win again if they were just going to have him wait another 80 days. So what we get Cody Roman 3 a couple months after Cody Roman 2. I don't know. It seems convoluted, but it's not impossible.
It is, but WWE also doesn't like doing the same thing twice. If you saw it last year, we don't want to show it to you again this year. Not in the same form or variation.
Yeah, no, not in this. Yeah, not in the same, because I saw people like, oh, this is Cody winning was the same story as last. I was like, no, it's not. Him winning this year is a whole different technical story, and him trying to get back to Roman is technically a different story. Like, this is the rematch. He ain't got Jay with him. I mean, he still got 2 other bloodline members, but it's still different a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you still got 2. He's still gonna get jumped. Like. Yeah. Unless you do it in some situation like, oh, it's a steel cage and nobody can get in. But even then, somebody gonna clip the little lock and hop on in. Like, exactly, it is what it is. Yeah, I think you get a more pure form of wrestling and a different story if he goes after, you know, Seth. I think it's different.
Yeah, you know, it's different. It's just to like slightly talk about SmackDown. Like, okay, so that's the title that Roman has is the title that his dad never got. Or whatever, like that's the whole story, right? So you don't like you're the 4th person to ever win back-to-back Rumble. You hear what Roman barred up Seth and that particular title, and is labeled it the consolation prize, labeled it the second place title. So it's like what? So like as a man, and I don't want to say as a man, but like seriously, like as a character, like if I was in those shoes, I'm not going to willfully take the title that the final boss said, yeah, go ahead and take that one if you want to be second place. If you really want to be a top dog, you're going to come up to me. And it's like, well, if I want to be the face of this company, then yeah, I'm gonna go after Roman. I want my lick back. I can see both sides, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
Nah, let's get into it. We're already here. We're gonna talk about it right now. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
So like with that in like the whole segment of Cody coming out and Roman's in the ring first and Cody comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting there throwing the promo like, I'm coming after you, and then it just drops it, but not at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
which took me by surprise. I didn't think that was going to fucking happen.
Took me by surprise. I was like, what the hell?
What the fuck are you doing? Like, the whole purpose of the story is you versus him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, talking about, I got somebody who knows you very well. I've been doing special counsel with somebody who knows you very well. And that just felt to me like, well, I can't kick your ass, but I know somebody who can. And it's like, why do that to your, why do that?
Yeah.
Why do it to a Rumble winner?
Yeah. Okay. So now that I had a couple of days of sleep on it, because I was really hot when that night of, and I need to apologize to Nick because I feel like I came off spicy. But now that I had a couple of days of sleep on it, I'm still upset. But
okay.
I'm honest. I honestly think that this might be a work. And if it's not a work, and if they do go with the Rock Roman, I'm gonna be baffled. But yeah, like see that, and that's why like there's so many pieces that just don't make any sense to me because it's like you making your baby face look like a bitch. You making Seth look like a bitch. Like you're making everyone looked weak except for Roman. Like he shouldn't never look weak, but it's like you did one of the hardest things to ever do, which is go back to back on a Rumble. Winning a Rumble is extremely hard in general. And then you're like, yeah, man, I ain't gonna fight you though, but I mean, I'm gonna fight you, but just not at the big stage. What the hell was the point? I feel like okay, if they really wanted Roman and Rock, there was an easier way to do it. I feel like, or they could have did something else. Like honestly, they should have just had Rock win the Rumble if that was the case, because it makes Cody and Seth look, respectfully, like cucks, and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Here's where my thought process went. When I saw it, I wasn't mad. I was just more so like, well, if this was the direction we're going in, just have him challenge Seth on that Raw. Don't make him go to SmackDown. Like, have him just say, no, Seth, I'm coming after you. Like, we're going to do this. And then let the internet be like, well, why did he choose XYZ? Like, don't make him point at Roman and then go to SmackDown and be like, I'm going this way. Like, that makes no sense. Just make him make the decision on the one show and let's get done with it. Here's my thing about the whole Rock and like Roman thing. This shit has been foreshadowed for so long. We've had conversations where it's like, damn, man, like Roman versus Rock. Like, yeah, it never happened. Like, there's no way it's going to happen. And then it fucking happens. Yeah. And then the January 1st, day one show, and like, he does the whole head of the table skit. Mm-hmm. He wasn't talking to Seth. He was talking to Roman. Right. Y'all think that shit was going to happen at fucking Elimination Chamber? Hell no. Rock comes back. It's happening at Mania, bro. That's just what it is.
That makes sense. Okay, so this is why. All right, so I feel like. Okay, this is why I think it's a. This is why I'm like. Okay, this is why I think it's a work. One, it made the entire planet upset. Like people are still tweeting. To the point where people are making death threats and shit, and it's not that serious. We're talking about scripted TV.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about scripted TV. It is not that serious. So whoever's listening, if any of you guys sending tweets to Rock or anybody wishing harm, like it ain't that serious. You guys,
you gotta relax, bro.
It's wrestling. It's TV. But the reason, like, okay, so to piggyback, like where you said, like Cody doesn't think he might be able to beat him. What if the Rock is a smokescreen? What if the Rock is like? Because they didn't announce a match yet. They just had the stare down. What if The Rock still shows up at Mania, but either they do a triple threat because The Rock, there's no way Rock is going to get in ring shape. Ring shape and just regular shape, those are two different shapes. Even though he's had 2 months now, it is two different shapes. And Roman puts on 25-minute cinema classics. So they could do a triple threat so that Rock doesn't have to wrestle as much and can take breathers. Or what if he's like, I'll be a special guest referee so that I know Solo and Jimmy can't do anything.
Here,
I'm not saying I want either of those, but that's the only other thing I can think of. If they want to, if all this is a smokescreen, if all this is a work just to get us all riled up, I think those are the only other two options that could make sense. Maybe
I feel like you're also like not letting one story finish because you want the other one to finish faster. It's like we've been on the rope with Bloodline since 2020. Yeah. It's actually funny. I went back and started watching when Bloodline started. So I'm like watching through like the Thunderdome era and shit like that. Mm-hmm. But like in his first promo, I think when he got the belt off of the Fiend, he was telling Jay, I gotta hold this so that our family stays can keep eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've been talking about the family and bloodline and all this since 2020.
Yeah.
They've even done promos where they're talking about, you know, the NOI family and who their people were, and like the most electrifying man is The Rock, who's part of that family. It's like, you gotta finish this story, bro. Like, we gotta knock this out. Like, we've been on the rope for 4 years with the bloodline. Knock The Rock out, finish this shit the fuck off. Cody wins it from you at SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I just need to see Roman versus Rock, because this is what the whole bloodline was about. Like, this is what the whole pinnacle of it. You say you're the head of the table, I was the head of the table. Let's fucking finish this and let's go for it. If it is like some special guest referee shit, that's fine too, but I hate the wish-washiness.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have me go here and then come back here, and because you made up your mind about like the internet not being happy. Keep it a buck, bro. It's like, as wrestling fans, we've watched superstars who were deserving to get spots, and it didn't happen just because the business is what the business is.
Right.
It's like,
that's true.
I love Shelton. Shelton proved to me that he was main event worthy, had the talent to do it. I watched Booker T have his match against Triple H and lost when Booker T was fucking ice white hot.
Yeah.
So like, I watched Kofi get pinned by Brock in 11 seconds. Like, so let's keep it a buck. Like, I've seen wrestlers who are talented get squashed over like small matches and not even have shots at the title. If Cody has to wait until SummerSlam, cool, he's gonna get it. He's already looked at as like the next guy. Let's just finish this up, get Rock the fuck up out of here, a little 10-12 minute match, and let's be done with it. Right. That's how I feel about it.
And you know, that could easily happen. I'm I'm not a writer, so it's not my job to figure out. But as a fan, I'm just really curious to like how they gonna make this story, because okay, granted, yes, it has been about the bloodlines of 2020. The Rock and Roman, they haven't intermingled that much throughout the career. I mean, a couple times with the Shield and stuff, and it's like, so like, what is the story going to be, especially if neither one of these people show up to work? I mean, apparently Roman's going to be here this next Friday, but I just need them to cook up some story, because I mean, Jimmy and like using Jimmy and Solo as another crutch to carry on a storyline.
It's trash. It's garbage.
It's not gonna hit with, especially with the the magnitude of Dwayne or The Rock Johnson. So like, as long as it's interesting, which, I mean, they haven't missed yet. So I mean, as long as it's interesting. But yeah, I'm just curious on how you guys are going to build this story, because to me, like, they're not even that close of cousins. They like distant cousins. So it's like what is the, like, I mean, the story is like, oh, like, I used to run this family and then I left and now you run it, so I want to fight you. To me, that's not that good of a story, which is why, like, because when Rock did his ESPN thing, he's like, I like a slow build. So that's why I'm fantasy booking, like, maybe this match isn't happening. Maybe he will be at Mania, but maybe the 1v1 won't happen at Mania. And maybe, like, because that could be a Saudi show, technically. Saudi's their other WrestleMania outside of the country. But I mean, I don't know. They have a lot of decisions to make, but it seems like they're going with Rock and Roman. But then it's like, I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't think Cody should go after Seth. It makes you look like a bitch, dude.
I think with the WWE, first off, they're a business. Yeah. Second off, you don't know what next year even looks like.
Facts.
Like, we keeping it a buck. It's just that, like, if you have something in your hand right now, ready to go, you put it out. Mm-hmm. Because, like, Roman, knock on wood, can, like, oh, he ACL, rolls an ankle, or whatever the case may be. Roman be like, I'm done after this, and you don't know. It's like, we gotta strike while the iron's hot. Mm-hmm. Cody, we just signed you. You are here. You're gonna be our guy, but we have to knock this one out before we can get to you. Also with that, it's like, it's a draw. WWE's all about the bag, bro. Like, yeah, TKO just signed. You're trying to get away from the VKM like stories and all that. Mm-hmm. You need a distraction.
I mean, this is a huge distraction because
absolutely
people are still fucking mad.
Bro, like, rightfully so. Not rightfully, but weirdly so. To where I'm seeing people like cuss The Rock out. Like, y'all was just popped for this dude January 1st. Mm-hmm. He did the whole
I mean,
Red Robin to the table, like everybody was popped. Everybody's like, "Yeah, this is it."
I was excited to see him, but when he cut that Fox News promo, I was like, "Oh man, I don't know, bro."
Fox News promo,
on Jinder Mahal, bro. He's on my, he's talking about America, and I'm like, "Oh, bro," he's been rumored to have a presidential run or whatever, and I'm like, "This is
right."
Y'all planting the seed so he could run for in 2028 or something." It was but,
right.
Should he sit in the booth?
Should we get the clucks and fries? Like,
should The Rock sit at the bar?
It's funny. Like, it's just quick. Like how quickly tables are turned.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Bryan said it best. When fans are fickle.
We're gonna find out. They have a press conference, I think, in Vegas on Thursday, where they're supposed to push the WrestleMania and shit like that. And my thing is that, like, once again, it's a draw. It's the biggest money possible. Like, you got the money from Cody Roman last year. We are a brand new ownership. We're trying to get as much money as possible. The Rock ain't wrestled in a minute. He's one of the biggest superstars, actors, whatever in the world. Roman Reigns is the biggest draw in WWE. We trying to blow a bag. Regardless, people are gonna tune in to buy. You're gonna watch that.
Yeah.
Cody's in there or not, you're tuning into Rock versus Roman.
Yeah,
that's just like the realism of it, or the realistic fact of it.
Yeah. And I saw Rock tweet. I think he will be there on Thursday in Vegas. So yeah, just gotta see how they cook it up. I slept on it. I'm convinced it's a work, even if it's not. If they build the story up, I'm not gonna be one of those people who's like, "Oh, let me cancel my Peacock subscription or nothing." Like, I'm gonna watch Mania. I'll be there. I mean, not physically, but yeah. I mean, I've been upset with WWE a lot, but I've never been one of. Let me cancel my network. Like,
let me get under the people who run the WWE shop Twitter and start talking about it. No, bro, you're making somebody else's job hard. Like, they don't got nothing to do with that shit.
No. And it's like, bro, I print shirts, bro.
Do you want a large or not, bro? Like, okay, so now we got like the end of SmackDown out the way. Let's talk about SmackDown. Just go through like that show entirely.
Logan starts the show off talking so much good shit, and I wrote he's a natural. And KO looked great as always.
The you smell, and he's like, "Oh, I bathe in Prime." Like that was like y'all just having fun with this shit. All right, I like it. From there, that KO has his match against Theory, which I think Theory is one of the most like underutilized talents. I like Theory a lot. I think that he has the look. He has the action figure body that everybody wants to model themselves after. He has mic skills. He is a phenomenal athlete and wrestler. What's missing?
Charisma.
What is missing?
I mean, I don't even want to use the word charisma. It's just he needs a different character. Like, my favorite version of Theory was when he was part of the Way and he was the dumb guy because he could still put on bangers, but like he actually had a character. He was like the dumb big brother. Like, this Theory is, I don't know what to call it. Like, to me, Grayson Waller damn near saved his career because Grayson is more entertaining to me. As far as being entertained, but Theory's moves, like, no, yes, you're right. Like, he has the physique, he has a fire moveset. And he's handsome, he's tall. I mean, he got it. But he's still missing a part of it. Like, the it isn't capitalized, but he does got it. It's just there is something missing. And I just think it's character work. Like, he needs, I don't know, just something other than just being a douche. Because Miz is a douche, Grayson Waller is a douche. Like, we got douche characters. I mean, he just needs. I don't know. I liked him when he's funny, dumb dork.
It just seems like because of like the change in regime from VKM to Triple H, you can tell the characters that VKM created and what he wanted them to be. To where now we're looking at them like, yo, like we need something more from you. Like we need something different, something that's like engaging and whatnot. And I think a lot of them right now are having that problem transitioning into like a character.
Bobby Lashley Profits is another example for me personally. It's just niggas in suits. Like, what does that mean? Like, I could put on a suit right now. Am I in the group?
But you know what? No. Contrary, I'll take niggas in suits over niggas with bulletproof vest on the G Unit era. Like, you know, I'm cool with.
You don't want Crime Time?
Nah, Crime Time was crazy. As a kid, you're like, oh, Crime Time is great, and it was phenomenal wrestling. As an adult, you're looking back like, this is some racist shit, bro.
This nigga's in a do-rag and Tim's beating somebody.
Do-rag and Tim's.
Slinging tickets to Triple H. All right, anyway.
It's the elbow drops. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, just character work. Like Bobby, I don't think Bobby necessarily needs it because Bobby's always gonna be Bobby. He's always the almighty. That's his whole gimmick. Is like the strong black man. Great. Street Profits, I love Street Profits. I think not having tag teams kind of fucked them over.
Yeah,
like I think once you separate the belts, like you kind of get more Street Profits. I think they're great, even
because they need another run too. Because they the other run was in the pandemic era, and Angela, both of them are great. Everyone wants a Montez single run. I do want that at some point, but as a team, they're great. And Angela Dawkins is like they're both good on the mic. They both have charisma. They're both good in the ring. Angela Dawkins, like he stays in the gym as far as like
he lost so much weight. Like he's transformed his body. Like he's done a lot.
Yeah, and he's always at the dungeon training with Natalie and stuff. Like he's someone because he's trying to beat those, you know, the Jannetty allegations or the Tucker allegations. I'm not going, to sit here and just,
he's not about to little bro me.
Yeah, you know, have us split up and then all of a sudden I get released because I suck.
Nah. I respect that. I respect that a lot.
Exactly.
Tez does deserve a single run. I just want to like, even if it doesn't work, I still think that you guys can still be a team and be partners while he goes to the single run.
Yeah,
we see it all the time.
Yeah, I'm tired of. I mean, and it looks like it's about to happen with Trick and Mello. But yeah, I'm sick of breakups where it's like I betray you. You know, it's like why can't just split up? Like why can't y'all just? But man, I got to do the single run real quick. Like I'm sick of like breakups like that.
A good example, and like we'll talk about AEW, but like with the Blackpool Combat Club, y'all a group. Y'all a group that's focused on kicking ass. Y'all don't have to be in tag team matches, but we all know y'all part of the clique. Right. It can be the same for anybody else, bro.
Exactly.
Like, just use that same philosophy. But to go back to Theory is character work. I love Theory. I think Theory, I think a lot of his momentum was squandered just based off of the moment was too big. He had Money in the Bank, which they kind of fumbled that. A lot of it wasn't his fault.
Well, I will say. I mean, it was. Well, Roman had 2 titles at the time. The world probably wouldn't win to a civil war if he dethroned Roman. If it was Theory, oh my god,
for sure.
And then then it's like, he had a failed cash in for the U.S. title. I'm like,
Do you think that's going to happen with Priest?
I don't think he's going to fail. I just don't know when he's going to cash in. I don't think he's going to fail. I feel like, ever since. I mean, even just a little bit before, but essentially ever since the Bad Bunny match, like you can slowly see. Also, he's amazing, and he's also a Triple H guy, and you can slowly see like they're positioning him to that spot. The only reason I think if he does fail, it's only because they still haven't figured out the Roman Rock stuff, or they still haven't figured out what's going on with Punk or Cody and Seth. That's the only other reason I think it could fail. Otherwise, there's 2 belts now, 2 titles. He should get one of them at some point.
Yeah.
My thing is like when he's going to be the first person to cash in the same on a Money in a Bank pay-per-view before he loses his case, or something. Like how are they going to do it? Are you going to try to recreate the Seth moment?
Right.
But I don't. I have faith that he's not going to fail. But real quick, and during this Theory Kevin match, Logan said, so I had to quote it because it was a bar. He's like, he will never get the blessing of my ignorance again. I'm like, man, that's a bar. I can't wait to say that to somebody. You will never get the blessing of my ignorance again. like it's a bar. Logan is a Dodger.
What I have next on my list is it's the Naomi and Stratton both joined for SmackDown.
Yes, Tiffany makes a hell of a debut by smacking the dog shit out of Meechin. In a stare down with Bianca. Which
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. It's not a passing of the torch moment, but a moment of like, okay, the new school, old school, or not new school, so but you know what I mean. Great, good for her. Get the rub, as they say in the business. It was good. I like it. And
I think once Mania is over, my hope is that like this women's division starts to flourish. starts to really like pop off because like you have Tiffany, Naomi, Bianca, like all of them on SmackDown.
Bailey's
like,
a face now. And
Bailey,
SmackDown
like,
has an amazing women's division.
SmackDown's stacked for
like,
sure.
Yeah, and and DT texted me, okay, because you know how when wrestlers date, they usually keep them on the same shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Andrade's on Raw, which means Charlotte's probably going to get switched to Raw whenever she gets healthy. Which hopefully her and Bianca still have that 1v1 because that was in the cards for this Mania, and that would have been a banger. And then DT texted me, he's like, because Tiffany's on SmackDown, I don't know if you know, but her and Ludwig have been dating for like a year now or so. So maybe an Imperium breakup or trade might happen soon. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
If Cody ever wins it, I would expect Gunther to be first in line. So maybe you might get Imperium on, SmackDown. That also sucks for Gunther too, because Gunther deserves it. That man is legit, probably one of the best wrestlers I've seen.
Oh yeah. He's one of those people that
no weakness,
do not miss,
no flaws,
no finisher. And I mean that as a compliment because I saw a tweet. It was like, "What is his finish? His finish is whatever he wants it to be.
Whatever."
I seen him win a match off of a chop, like literally just a chop to the chest. So,
like,
hey,
that's funny.
Gunther is that man.
He is.
Going
back to the women, I think like the foreshadowing with Stratton and Bianca is gonna be great. That's a future, whatever pay-per-view you want to put it on. I think they have something there. I'm going to bunch this one in there as well because it was also announced, or not announced, but kind of showed, is that Jade is also on SmackDown too.
Oh, she didn't sign yet. She didn't. Yeah, she still said she's a free agent.
Okay.
She didn't. Yeah, but I mean, everyone wants her and Bianca to fight first, and I mean, honestly, we should put that on a crock pot for like a year. That should be next Mania. I want to see them because we talked about it in our chat. I want to see that as a tag. Man. Put the belt, man.
What,
man? That's what I want.
Nobody's gonna lose. Nobody's gonna win. Like they cleaning house on everybody.
Yeah.
Like respectfully.
Yeah. So after that Tiffany debut, we get the Fatal 4-Way tag that's going to set up the qualifier, and all I wrote was I wrote qualifier tag, and then I wrote yes boy. So I'm assuming Pretty Deadly won.
No.
Oh, they didn't. Okay, then I'm just a huge Pretty Deadly fan because I wrote ... yes boy. So that match was a good match. Who won that one? Totally oh, here it is. No, Pete and Bate. Yeah, Pete and Bate. I did write it.
that one I wrote the notes. Was the writing was on the wall for me in that because like I think before they showed the match, they had the promo where Legato was going to talk about having to stop the LWO.
Yeah, and that video package was fire
video package. But once again, y'all already beefing with somebody. It's the same thing I said about LA Knight and AJ. Like y'all already don't like each other. You're not going for no tag teams right now. Y'all got to finish y'all business and then go next.
Yeah, they're trying to they're waiting for Ray to come back healthy, so they're just slowly cooking.
Right. And with that, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates already beat Pretty Deadly. I was like, okay, well, this makes sense while they're going forward. In my head, I already knew that Pete Dunne and them was going to win.
Yeah, Bruiser, big strong boy. I love it.
And the thing is, like, I like Cena. I didn't get to see him as this. Like, I think he wasn't. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen clips. I know he was in NXT UK. I know he came over to NXT over here for a little bit, but I never got to see it. And so the first time I seen it, he was what was the boy's name?
Butch?
It wasn't Pete. Yeah, there was Butch.
I mean, it's mostly the same character. His moveset, Pete Dunne, Peter Dune. No, Pete Dunne he's amazing in the ring. All those UK people are pretty like. Just like how we were talking about the Japanese stars, a lot of the UK people like Gunther, Isla Dawn, Tyler Bate, Peter, Imperium, all the people they got from the UK, NXT UK, they're really solid in the ring. Ilya, I don't know if you've seen any of his matches.
Yeah, I haven't seen Ilya. I'm familiar though.
Yeah, he's somebody who also just does not miss.
Okay.
yeah, they all got that aura, and yeah. So Pete, yeah, he doesn't talk that much. It's similar. Honestly, his character is not going to change that much. The most character I think he's ever had was when he was partners with Matt Riddle for a little bit during NXT.
Okay.
But now he's just a dude who likes to break limbs and beat the hell out of you. So most of the character work is probably going to come from Bate. But yeah,
I like Tyler Bate too. Like I was not familiar with Tyler Bate. I didn't know who this dude was, and I was like, oh, it's Pete. He's coming back, and I watched it for Pete, but I left more impressed with Tyler Bate. I was like, yo, this guy's kind of cool. Like he's someone who should have been called up a long time ago. He was the first NXT UK champion, and then it went to Pete, and then it went to Walter until he became Gunther, and then Ilya had it, and then they discontinued it or whatever. But yeah, like yeah, when you have chance, you should. Assuming they're on Peacock, you should try to catch some like that. Some of the NXT UK matches, like Walter Gunther versus Tyler Bate was amazing. Gunther versus Pete Dunne, amazing. And that's when Gunther was Walter, and he was big boy. He was full,
yeah. But yeah, man, yeah, and I feel like just like with DIY, I feel like in like 3 weeks when we talk about this team again, they're going to be like way more over with the crowd. You know,
that's funny because in my notes I have a setup of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bates versus DIY would be crazy.
Oh yeah, that'll be a 30-minute blast.
Yeah, that's and I wrote right next to it. That's a Triple H setup. Like that's his guys. He wants you to see the talent that they have. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah. Random side note: this just makes me wish Adam Cole never left, because if he just would have stuck it out long and went through the VKM era. Anyway, all right.
That's a dark era though for a lot of people though.
Yeah, it was a dark era. Poor Walter. But hey, some people you gotta persevere. It's the business.
Come on, what he named Keith Lee? It was Big Bear. It was
Bearcat Lee. It was supposed to be a. It was bro. It was no. That was weird. It was weird. It was absolutely weird, and his music was ass.
Man,
but
that's a good example though, because like we were talking about how music and people connect. Like you changed Keith Lee music, and they were like, "Bro, who the fuck is this?"
Yeah, because everyone loved his NXT music.
Yes,
and then he went to the main roster, and it was still him rapping. I was like, "This is ass. What the hell is this?" This is cheeks. After the Pete win, I have next is the Bailey Batista storyline that they're doing.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, which I mean, people have been being snarky about it, like, oh, Triple H and HBK, they're just running back their old storylines. But hey, if it works, this is what I want them to do in the 2K games. Please run back some of these storylines.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So Io, Asuka, Kari. There was no Dakota. So I guess that sets up that maybe she's not a part of it yet, because she even tweeted a heartbreak sign or something, like, oh, what's going on? So she's still in the limbo of whose side she might be on. But yeah, we have Io, Asuka, Kari. They talking shit behind Bailey's back. Mic drops is like, oh yeah, I know Japanese.
I've been talking about me. Yeah. That's crazy.
I've been seeing it. Like, you don't think it. And this is with the continuity thing that they've been doing, because this happened during the Bloodline thing, where. Because it's so funny to me in wrestling. It's such a wrestling trope. Like, okay, for example, we're in a tag match. You accidentally hit me, and like I'm like, why did you betray me? It's like, dude, watch the damn video. Watch the show. I hate that trope.
It was an accident. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's like, well, they won't. Like, I hate that trope so much. But I remember in the Bloodline, like there was I think it was either Paul. Yeah, it was Paul Heyman. He was like, "Did you see the show last week where Jimmy was slightly talking, or Jay was talking to Sammy behind a truck or something like that?"
Yeah, I see that.
So anyway, to say all that, it's like Bailey was picking up all the like random signs of like, oh, like, slightly getting shaded, not getting a high five, not getting a hug. Like she was paying attention to the show, which makes sense because it's on TV. And yeah, she didn't get set up, and that's good heel work. That's good face work. That's just good character work. It's like, hey, I've been in this game for a while. I've been a heel for the last 4 years. You think you're just gonna set me up with the okie doke like nothing?
Like,
she had the pipe set up. She had
pause. Sure. Where did this pipe come out? Where'd this come from?
Yeah, it's like had a lead pipe set up behind the stairs. That was great.
think with the Bailey decision, I think once again, part of foreshadowing was that like that Raw where Nia pushes her in the corner and she looked behind her, everybody on outside of the ring, and so she's the only one getting pressed. I guess like once again, I knew this is the area that they were going for, the way they were going to tackle this. My question is like, who faces Rhea? Who sets up Rhea?
Becky. I think that's
think so?
I think that's the writing on the wall, and that's the big. I mean, unless they go Bianca Rhea, even though Bianca's on a different show, I think it's been set up for Becky. Rhea's gonna beat Nia. I think Rhea and Nia is gonna be Elimination Chamber. Becky's probably gonna
That makes sense.
Yeah, Becky's probably gonna win the Chamber to qualify for Rhea, and then we get Rhea in Mommy versus the Man at Mania. That's money as well. That's money right there.
And they haven't done that before, have they?
They have not.
Has that?
They have not fought, and if they have,
Okay.
it's only been like a tag. But I cannot recall them ever having a 1v1, especially in these particular character arcs or characters.
Who do you book to win?
That's a flip. That might be That's a flip of a coin, because I mean I could see Becky winning, and then like giving a bunch of other people a chance, similar to what she did with the NXT Women's title for a little bit, and then Rhea could always get that shit back. But if you want to prove Rhea's dominance, where she beat Charlotte the Mania before, and then beat another horsewoman, you could easily do that too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta wait till the months play out before I pick. But I can see it go either way. Either way. Because
preemptively, I think I'm gonna go with Rhea. I think Rhea is probably my choice. Which leads into like Rhea Jade if Jade goes to Raw, and I think that'd be great too.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see Rhea winning, because then that means her and Bianca, who are clearly like the Goku Vegeta of this, or the Naruto Sasuke, whatever. That means they both beat 2 horsewomen's in Manias. It's a good story to tell for when they do finally fight. It's like,
yep.
I can see that.
What I have next after that was this made me mad. It was the Lashley Street Profits versus the Final Testament, which wasn't even a match.
No.
Like, I was amped. Like, these boys are really about to start brawling. Like, we gonna get this right now. And then it's a no contest. And I'm like, what was the point?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm giving Final Testament some chance to cook, because honestly, I really like that name, and I'm going to cop a shirt. I've never been the hugest Karrion Kross fan, but I do see why Triple H and some other people want to try to get behind him. And this is some of the most natural heat that he's ever gotten. In this last week when he was talking. But so now B-Fab is joining the Mighty Prophets, I guess, which is weird, because it's like your wife is on the show. If you want a real hitter, get your wife.
We could have went this way.
Yeah, but
I'm okay with that though, because Bianca's already a certified star.
Right, exactly, and she has her own stuff that she needs to go through, and B-Fab is just in catering, so she needs something to do.
Absolutely,
but. Yeah, man, I don't know what they're doing with this feud. I'm assuming Final Testament's going to win this feud. But yeah, I don't know. White women and Bobby Lashley, they do not get along. He
shit.
Her, Lana, and he be getting worked.
Look, I'm gonna say this one thing. I'm gonna say this after catching the shit in the VKM allegations and everything. These cuck fucking storylines I'm looking at real crazy.
Yeah,
not gonna lie. I'm just leave it at that. Yeah. I feel like the storyline's gonna be great. I want them to push it. I love what's their names? I just know about it's Occam and Razor. What's their tag team name though?
AOP.
AOP.
I have one nitpick with that, and it's like, okay, with Final Testament, okay, why are they still wearing tactical gear? Are they supposed to be like militia, or are they contract killer? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the team I'm looking at, and it reminds me of early Judgment Day, like the first right like right when as they kicked out Edge and like as they were like right before they got Damian or not Damian, right before they got Dominic, like it was like, okay, are you guys spooky niggas? Are you guys a gang? Like what is the story? Like what are you guys now? Now they're just like a gang of cool people. But so like I'm trying to figure out what is Final Testament, because you got the two managers, the bald dude and Scarlett. You're speaking all this religious allegory or whatever, and you're beating up motherfuckers. I love that, but why are they wearing bulletproof vests in all these pockets? What are they better going to riot after? I don't understand. Like,
what's the gimmick? Like, what's the gimmick?
Just dress them up as honestly, it would look better if they dressed. They had the Devon look, the Testify Devon. Make them look like rabbis or priests or something. I don't understand. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for it. I'm gonna let it cook.
yeah, that's the thing. I'm gonna let it simmer. I'm gonna let this one, like, I have no like groundbreaking decisions on it yet, other than like I want to see them wrestle. I want to see how the story plays out. But as far as like, you know, character style or like me being like critique of anything or me critiquing anything, I have nothing. Yeah, it's too early for me to be invested.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's a nitpick. It's not a huge thing. Their biggest thing though, as far as AOP, they just got to stay healthy, because that was their big, like when they got to the main roster, like that was their big problem. Like one of them always got hurt until eventually they were released, because they were rolling with Seth Rollins for a little bit when he first turned heel.
Yeah,
and then they had Buddy Matthews, and then one of them always kept getting hurt. So as long as they stay healthy, because they're a solid tag team. They did good work in NXT. Them in Street Profits and Undisputed Era had like a crazy ass triple threat.
I think I remember that. Yeah. All right. I think,
and then we already talked about The Rock and Roman.
Yeah. So for the audience right now, we're gonna do an audio break. I'm gonna play some I just created maybe like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, man. So just sit back real quick, enjoy the tunes. Then when we come back, we'll talk about like, you know, our match of the week or our match of the week, and then I'll go into like the AEW recap.
Weird.
All right, catch you on a little bit.
Warp drive.
We're back. Hopefully you enjoyed, you know, the tunes. You know, I got some more cooked up in the vault. I can't wait to like show y'all. Match of the week. What was your match of the week from WWE?
All right. Well, since we didn't get to talk about it, so I'm gonna choose this. I'm gonna choose Gunther versus Kofi. I mean, I love Kofi. it was a good match. It was a solid match. They both had really good promos before the match. Like, I mean, Gunther is. Yeah, they need to get that IC title off of him because it's time.
That's crazy.
It's time.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to say because you're going in the right direction. You're like, I want to get him off him because he's too good to have it.
Yeah, no, like he elevated that title as much as it can be elevated at this point. It's time to like he's like it wasn't until I want to say it wasn't until the Miz feud. I mean, he's always been good on the mic, but like he doesn't talk that much. But then, like when he started beefing with Miz, he was cooking. Like he's been cooking on the mic ever since. And like the shit he was saying about Kofi before the match started, he was barring him up. But
bro, it's crazy.
the match was really good. It had one moment that like, I mean, I knew Gunther was gonna lose, but there was one moment where it's like, oh, okay, wait, hold on, this might be it.
He's coming out high.
It was a good match. I think it was a solid match.
I think I'm gonna give it to DIY in Judgment Day. I think coming from like not having any momentum to where like they're carrying momentum, like the gear looks great, the synergy looks great. I want them to continue having like this push because I think they're doing really well. I'm gonna go DIY for sure.
That's a great pick.
Into the AEW side of it, there's a lot of different things happening. That's not. I won't say different. I'll say unique. They kick off the show with Jon Moxley versus Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy's going on this heel turn, which is like Jeff Hardy's always been a babyface to me. I don't think I've seen Jeff Hardy as a heel. I don't think I can like pinpoint any certain.
I wasn't watching at the time, but he was a heel in WWE. Like when, some point in time when he got the title, and they had that song "No More Words" that people just love.
Yeah, okay, they love.
And I think while he was in TNA and like when they were doing the Delete Brother Nero stuff, I don't know. I wasn't watching wrestling at that time, but I want to say he has been a heel. So.
That makes sense. I think that's around the time that I wasn't like privy to as well. I wasn't watching as well. But just Mox is always gonna be great. Mox is just Baxter. Mox is my favorite member of the Shield. Like I love Dean Ambrose. I love
Dean Ambrose. Moxley is okay. No, Mox is good. He just kind of wrestles like a drunk sailor a little bit, which I guess
I like it though.
Okay,
I think like because it's not like controlled.
I like violence. I like the violence.
Yeah. I think you can tell like that's what he wanted to do. Like you can't be the lunatic fringe and don't bleed, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I understand where he was trying to go with it.
Yeah.
That's funny because at least there's a promo, or not promo, but there's a cross promotion with CMLL, which is like the Lucha Libre division of Mexico.
Okay.
They had a match on Rampage, and one of the luchas in there was name is Mystico, but he goes to Sin Cara.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I was looking into Sin Cara. I was like, man, why did Sin Cara leave? And inside like the wiki page I was reading, it said that he had left because he couldn't wrestle the style that he wants. Tying that into like Mox and how he wants to wrestle, is like WWE has a style that they want you to kind of fit into, and like once you break that mold and once you're able to leave and actually be creatively you probably are different individuals. Like you probably want to do some crazy shit every once in a while, like,
right.
And I respect it. Like I said, I love Mox. I love the idea of like this whole I'm gonna leave some place and recreate myself. I love not being tied down to a certain area. It's not necessarily an AEW thing, or because you can go to TNA and do the exact same thing. Like I love what Naomi did over there. Like
that's what Drew did. A lot of people go to TNA to reinvent themselves and then they come back.
That's what Dolph is doing. Yeah. Like Dolph is. I love Dolph Ziggler too.
Yeah, I've always been a huge. When I got back into wrestling at 2015, Dolph, Seth, and the New Day were the first like characters that popped out to me, and I was like, Dolph was cool as hell to me.
So yeah, wrestling and what kind of wrestler you are, if you're gonna recreate yourself, I'm always gonna be standing behind you. Like I think it's really cool to like not let a certain time kind of like bog you down, and you just like, well, I'm gonna go and do me anyway. Like Cardona. Like from the woo 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 to like fucking this huge rip carry like oh y'all
Yeah,
this is not the same one we know.
Yeah, now he's like the king of hardcore.
This is not Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I'll die on the hill. I was a huge Zack Ryder fan. I had a Bro Me shirt.
Ryder was great.
I loved it. Bro Me, and I was a huge Stardust fan too. I still have a Stardust action figure somewhere.
When he got Zack Ryder got the IC title, the white belt, I was tuned in,
and then lost it like literally the next day to the Miz, and I was like,
oh my,
I hated the Miz, but then like I was like, oh, like this was when I like started understanding wrestling. I was like, okay. Because at first I still didn't understand the art of a promo or what a heel really was or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was just pissed. I was like, because Zack Ryder was something also I got drawn to, and then the Miz took it, and I was like, oh, this dude, he does nothing but cheat. And then when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. And I was like, and then he has his wife. But then like after a month, I was like, oh, this is some good shit. I'm a heel guy now.
Is good. Yeah. So from there we got Mox versus Jeff. They turned to Jeff Hardy heel, which I think is something to like pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
The next match was a pick your poison match between Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. Hangman went against Toa Leona, which is part of he's part of Mogul Embassy, Swerve's faction, which was a good match. I'm not really too locked in with Mogul Embassy. Like, it's just not, it don't really catch me. I like Brian Cage, even though Brian Cage is questionable individual, like just supreme largely individual. Like, how did you get this big?
Yeah.
But as far as like wrestling style, Brian Cage doesn't really do a lot for me. Not so he could be a phenomenal fucking person. His gear is always fucking tight, but just this part of it could be storyline and booking.
I think his body ward. I think with with his style of wrestling / how much he works out, so I think his body's starting to wear down a little bit. I don't know if you ever watched Lucha Underground, but I watched the first season of Lucha Underground like a while back, and like that was my introduction to Centimero. What's his name? Penta. The Pentagon and Prince Puma, aka Ricochet. That was my first time seeing Io Sky too. But yeah, no, Brian Cage, Anyway, yes, he's a good wrestler. I'm saying all this to say, but he used to really go. He used to really go.
I gotta check that. I gotta check that for sure, because a lot of like this talent in AEW were in different like locations, of course. Yeah. Some of them were at like smaller indies and stuff like that, but I just knew Brian Cage as I think his tag was the Swolverine, and I saw him come out in like the Wolverine gear, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Swolverine.
Swolverine.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good, Brandon. Good brand.
From there, Hangman ends up winning. They're setting up the Hangman Swerve 3, which is going to be a really dope match.
So my thing is in AEW, WWE, they used to have this problem. They don't have this problem as much, especially since Triple H took over. But AEW does. They have this problem that happens sometimes, and it's because match 2 was that blood, like he was drinking blood and shit. So like, where do you go from here? Because that match was already crazy. Well, you just gonna have a normal singles match, like, and WWE does this sometimes too. It's like the second match was already like a Hell in a Cell or whatever. So now we were just supposed to go a normal singles match, and then it's a blood feud. So I'm just like, because that was a Texas Death Match or whatever. So I'm like, what do you guys do from now? I need y'all to fight on a helicopter or something. Because
I do agree with that. Because I thought that was enough. I seen it. You hung this man by the chain on the turnbuckle. I was like, this is it.
Yeah, which was the blackest thing Swerve has ever done, which was hang a white man, and I appreciate that.
Crazy.
But but deadass, that nigga drunk blood, and that shit is wild. So
that was the craziest shit ever.
So where do you go from there?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. And also, like you said, like that was it. That was the pinnacle of it. We were done. I don't want to see you no more.
Yeah, no. After that, I gotta shoot you. Honestly, I'm sorry. I mean, if I'm 0-2 and you drunk my blood on live, or no, Hangman's the one that drunk the blood. But either way, that's some wild shit.
There was staples in the people. Like it was just a lot.
Yeah.
It was just also really cool that we get to see like a black superstar engage in like the hardcore activities.
Yes,
we don't really get to see that a lot. No, that doesn't really happen.
No,
so I thought that was really cool to fucking see.
Yeah, and he did this thing. Okay, real quick, how do you? Okay, because obviously this is setting up to try to get to whoever can fight Joe.
You're right.
Swerve pull a Cody and 3-stock Hangman, or does Hangman finally beat Swerve, or do they set up for a triple threat? How are you feeling? Because yeah.
Damn, that's a good question. Because like, shit, he's about to 3-stock him, which I think is cool. I think that shows you that like, no, Swerve is the one. He didn't beat you 3 times. You get to 1v1 versus Joe.
Mm.
However, if I'm going into like Revolution, which is in March, I believe, a triple threat also looks pretty good too. To where if I was booking it, it's okay, let's say hypothetically, Hangman beats Swerve this time. It's a triple threat at Revolution. Swerve pins Hangman instead of pins Joe, and Swerve gets it that way. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that way Joe doesn't look weak, and I mean, Hangman's probably going to be all depressed and crying in beer again, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I cried in my beer before.
Next match was Wardlow versus Commander. Wardlow, I talked about in the last episode. Wardlow's one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. I think that like he fits it's like the powerhouse. I hate to say it like this, but the powerhouse like Brock mold. Like the Powerbomb Symphony is one of the dopest things. As like if I was 8 and I just saw somebody continuously powerbomb somebody, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's fire. That's absolutely fire. If I had to nitpick, my thing is why, like, okay, so with this Undisputed Kingdom, that's the name, isn't it? If he's your tank, if he's your heavy, and he's supposed to be the guy who beats Joe so that he gives Cole the title, why is he doing like these 50-50 matches with respectfully scrubs?
That's my thing about AEW is that like they will put their marquee guys against scrubs,
like random people that you
respectfully
jobbers, whatever term you guys want to use. But like, why is John Moxley going 50-50 in a 20-minute match with a dude who was literally just at McDonald's 2 days ago?
Because that man loves to wrestle. That's why.
Yeah, I know. It's just
that man. He doesn't matter who. It don't matter who John wrestles. If he can put you in a sleeper or a submission hold, it's gonna be a 20-minute match. That's it. Yeah, the fucking force to the head. John's is gonna be. He's gonna do John shit. But I will give you that, like the way that they book over there. Sometimes it's like, well, this doesn't make him look too strong. But then they do it correctly and make somebody look just as strong. So like one good example is like Hook versus Joe. Hook still looks strong because he kept no selling certain things. Yeah. And so like you're like, oh fuck, like he got fucking what's it called? The fucking knuckle buster or whatever. He pops back up.
Oh yeah, the muscle buster.
Muscle buster. Yeah, muscle buster. So he does like the muscle buster, he pops back up, and Hook looks strong. So I love him when they do it that way, but sometimes like you can tell what's like, this is supposed to be a dark match. You're just trying to fill the slot right now. I get it, but don't make it seem like it's bigger than what it actually is.
But yeah, I just feel like sometimes, like they don't. It's weird to say, but they don't do enough squash matches. Which, I mean, like to me, like Wardlow should have powerbombed Symphony that dude in 2 minutes. Like, because apparently he got hurt in this match too, which is unfortunate. And it's like, well, if he was just squashing cats like he should be technically, then he
used to do.
Yeah, like he used to. Like he's supposed to be.
That guy.
Cole is saying that he's going to beat Joe, and you know, so like, why is he going 50-50 with random people? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just something that they should tweak a little bit. There's some people who should just get squashed. I'm sorry, like, you know, it's like.
And I think once you lost, like, you know, your AEW, like, Dark and, you know, Dark Elevation, you lost, like, your squash matches. I used to love watching Dark. Not because, like, I was waiting for a star to come up, but some of, like, the indie people or people who haven't been signed yet were also on these shows. I was like, oh, well, that person's cool. I like this person over here. Yeah.
Now that they're bringing the win-loss thing, I think that's going to happen again. Because that's, like, the first 2 years, that was their format. Like, someone go to Dark, they rack up 10 wins real quick, and then boom, now they're number one contender or whatever. So I think they might go back to that. They'll probably go back to that.
The rankings have came back. Yeah, he brought them back like 2 days ago or something like that. Like this past Dynamite, he brought the rankings back. So yeah, Wardlow got injured. Hopefully he gets, you know, it's not as serious because he's I like seeing Wardlow on TV.
Yeah.
I realized that Roderick Strong is a great heel.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch a lot of the Undisputed Era, so I missed out on like that prime black and gold time. So this is my first time seeing Roderick Strong and like Adam Cole and stuff like that. And Roderick Strong is like, hey, he's a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah,
Technical as fuck.
He has a great moveset as well. Amazing moveset.
He's also phenomenal on like his promos and mic skills. Like he knows how to carry himself as like an asshole. Like just you want to hate the man for like how nitpicky he is with like, you know, everything.
Yeah.
But their setup with that is that Roderick Strong goes against Orange Cassidy at Revolution, and
which that should be a banger.
Yeah,
on paper that should be a banger. So
yeah, that should be a solid match. I don't, like I said, said in the last episode, I didn't see it with Orange Cassidy until I saw him live. I saw everybody like, oh, y'all really popped for this dude. Like this dude is, it's crazy. When I first saw Orange Cassidy, I thought it was cool that like he has the toe touch gimmick or light touch, light kick, and I was like, that's different.
Hands in the
really
pockets. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he was one of the people when AEW, when I first started watching, like he was one of the people that, he drew out to me, and I was like, okay, but
that's different.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, but are we just going to continue to do like, because for like, for example, with R-Truth, it was like R-Truth, like we know he can go, but like he likes to do the comedy thing with Cassidy. I just knew him as a comedy person at first. And then once he started going in the ring, I'm like, oh, this man can work. And I was like, okay, now I'm even a bigger fan. Like, because he was like him as the international champion or whatever. Like, he was honestly, for a couple months, in my opinion, he was carrying AEW as far as like the work, as far as work rate goes. Like, he had the better matches on the card consistently for a couple months.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with that. That like Orange Cassidy for sure. He was the quote unquote the Bailey of AEW. He was holding it down for a little bit.
Yeah.
From there, we have it's a Darby Allin Sting promo against Ricky Starks and Big Bill. This is basically setting up a tag team title match for Darby and Young Bucks. I think they're supposed to go for the titles next week on Dynamite. I think Sting and Darby ends up winning that, and then you have Sting Darby versus Young Bucks at Revolution.
And that's supposed to be Sting's last match, isn't
it? Yeah. So I think Sting either ends as AEW Tag Team Champion. I don't think he loses to Young Bucks, but I can see that as like a good heel push is that you put out the legend or whatever.
Right. And typically, usually your last match, you usually put somebody over.
Right.
Typically.
Do I think that the Young Bucks need to be put over? No. I think they're fine.
No, honestly, they should go away. But I mean, but they don't have the talent or they don't have the roster right now. But they should take a. I mean, they only took like a couple weeks off, and they come back and other. Are they supposed to be like baby Vince McMahon? I don't understand the character.
The character they have right now is funny. I think the characters that they are basically what like everybody wants them to be, which is like, oh, y'all are abusing your power as like EVPs or whatever.
Right. So so authority.
Yeah, okay. Semi-authority figure for sure.
Okay.
But I don't think they need to be put over in Revolution. It'd be kind of interesting to see how that match goes. I do want to get some Sting gear before Sting goes out because Sting's retiring. I got to get a Sting shirt. Like Sting is like Sting was the reason I wanted to tune into WCW. Like, you saw the dude with the bat and the hanging in the middle of the fucking like not the top of the stadium or sliding down from the top of the stadium. Like Sting was just that guy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last match of the night was Swerve RVD, which RVD can still go.
Yeah, absolutely. And he looked good. He looked better. He looked better than what he did when he last was at AEW, which was only a couple months ago, I think.
Which is nuts, right? It's fucking crazy.
CBD and he has a hot wife. So
that's it. That's and on you.
Yeah, and a light schedule, like you know,
for sure. That's like most legends. Like if you can get them on a light schedule, they can give you matches like that every once in a while.
Exactly.
Like, I'm okay with that. I do like the fact that Swerve's getting a chance to go against these legends, like going against RVD's like probably like a childhood dream. You know, like you've grown up watching RVD. You know how cool RVD is.
Yeah,
so
no,
to actually wrestle against him.
Absolutely, he was one of my favorites when the merger happened.
Yeah,
I was like,
what?
oh, who's the dude with the cool ass singlet that 5-star
with the dragon on it?
Yeah,
like what? Like
the Van Daminator. When I first saw the Van Daminator, I was like, oh.
Bro, what's crazy is that the move that got me with RVD is the Rolling Thunder.
Yes.
It wasn't even the Frog Splash. It was just the Rolling Thunder. I was like, oh, this is tight.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? So yeah, very cool to see RVD get out there. It just set up, like I said before, the Swerve versus Hangman 3. I put a note that said next week's Dynamite looks insane. So I need to look at the match card of next week's Dynamite because apparently, like, some shit's about to go down.
I heard that TK has an announcement.
Absolutely.
You know, so we're back into the New Year's we're back on on schedule.
For sure.
Because, you know, we need that TK announcement, damn it. if I don't get a weekly announcement, what am I supposed to do?
You ain't got to announce it like that, TK. We don't need TK has a big announcement next week. It's like you can just announce the announcement when it happens. Do you think it's already rumored, right, that we're talking about Mercedes Moné?
Moné watch. Hashtag it.
So everybody is on the Moné watch.
Yeah.
How do you feel about potentially seeing her AEW?
Okay. All right. So look, I'm gonna try to. This is what I tell my wife. This is what I told my wife because she's a huge Sasha fan. Like I got her into wrestling because of Sasha because they kind of look like I was like, hey babe, you kind of look like her because I saw a picture of baby Sasha and I saw a picture of my wife as a baby. I was like, oh, y'all niggas look like, and then to the point where she cosplays as her and they met each other a couple times.
I love that.
Okay, so here's my thing. All right, so as far as Moné Watch goes, she's a troll. She knows exactly what she's doing, and I am to the point where I just don't care. I just want you to go to work, choose a job, and show up, and then I'll decide if how much I'm a root. Because I mean, actually, I love her. I don't like how she handles every single thing, but then again, I don't know her. So, but I need her to show up to a job. Now, as far as what it looked like for AEW, honestly, I do not think it's going to change anything, and that's because their women's division, it doesn't. The way, I don't want to use the word groom, but they groomed their audience, or they got their audience used to not caring about women's wrestling in general. And I don't think...
You think so?
Yeah, dude, they usually only have like one women's match. Most of the matches aren't that good, like in-ring wise, and it's because like a lot of these women don't get time to work with each other. There's rarely ever women promos. Like they do not cater to women's wrestling at all. So if like for me, it's like if you're a woman, like if you're a fan of women's wrestling, like legit just fan, like TNA has one of the best women rosters there is, and then there's WWE, and then there's like Stardom, and then you know some stuff in New Japan, whatever. But AEW is not the place for women's wrestling, and I personally do not think if any of the backstage rumors about Mercedes is true, I don't think she's going to change anything. How many, like, they've had like 30 people that's supposed to change the game, like, oh, this is the hottest free agent, and the only person that ever did it was CM Punk. And ever since he left, like, Rusev was supposed to change the game. Malachi Black hasn't had a singles match in like a year and a half. You know, Andrade was supposed to be the game changer. They fumbled that to where he was like, I don't even want to work at this place anymore. Anyway, I'm not trying to harp on them, but as far as the women's division goes, the last 4 years of AEW's been a thing. If it's not Britt Baker, I feel like they don't care until like, I mean, besides Tony Time now, like Tony Time is good, but even that has a detriment because now they're paying so much. Like it's like the character is bigger than the business now, in the point where it's like the character is more over than anything else, and so it's like it's not helping any other women. Like Sheeta, she's been a Sheeta, dope. Yeah, Sheeta's dope, but she was a placeholder title person like twice. She won the title just to lose it to Paige, and then she won it just to lose it to Tony, and then show up the next week and never get a rematch, even though you got cheated. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think she's gonna. I don't think she's gonna change anything. I hope she does because Paige was supposed to change something, but I mean we know Paige, her neck don't work, but. respectfully. I mean,
Respectfully.
if you saw the matches, like that one German that Rio did to her, I was like, ooh. Anyway, I don't think she might get some TV time for sure. She's Mercedes; she'll get TV time, but I don't know. I would like to see it.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I love AEW's roster more than I love anybody else's women roster. Because of, once again, I'm a character person. I like seeing different characters. I like seeing different gimmicks. I like seeing different styles. Like to see like the birth of like Julia Hart go from like sorority Julia Hart to House of Black Julia Hart, like that's fucking tight to me. I will give you the credit to where like they don't necessarily like I said, the booking thing. I think they honestly have almost too many people on the roster, or maybe they should have brand specific rosters, but I know they're trying to stay away from that. You don't want to be your competition. You want to be something completely different. So I understand why you don't have brand specific rosters, even though they kind of have it with Collision. You have some people who are on Collision that you are your mainstays, but I think that with their women's division, because right now Britt hasn't been there in a minute. I haven't seen Britt since I seen her in January when they had the show in January here. It's like Britt hasn't been around. I think she was dealing with Cole, like in his injury. I know for a minute there, Cole was really fucked up. Like, and he was bad.
Thunder Rosa just came back.
And Thunder's your mainstay too. So for a minute there, they didn't have like their marquee like people, which then goes on to say, well, that's why you make another one. That's why you have somebody else come in and do it.
Right.
And for a while there, I think they were just trying to figure out who that was. And for a minute, it was Toni Storm. Like Toni came in as the regular Toni Storm, lost the belt, came back as Timeless Toni Storm, which I think Timeless Toni Storm was a fucking hit.
Yeah,
I think like you're comedic, you're funny as hell. Like you can still wrestle, but the way you change your style from what we knew you as in WWE to like this ground and pound, simple, like, old school kind of wrestler. I love that as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. I just, I feel like they don't put, as far as the women go, I feel like they like some of their best workers, like Ember, she's in ROH. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
For why she should be on Dynamite.
Fair.
Deonna Purrazzo, after this feud, she's probably going to go straight to ROH too. Like some of their better women are on ROH, which no one watches because I don't even know where you watch that besides maybe just YouTube.
Right.
And then like everyone else that they put in front besides Tony Time, they're not that good in ring. And that's not to be rude. It's just like they need a PC. They need better training because it's hard. How can you get good if you have a match every 3 weeks? I mean, Velvet Sky. I don't know. Velvet Sky and Sky Blue. They've been getting better because they're on TV weekly. Like Sky Blue looks way better than what she did last year, and that's because she's on Dynamite almost every single week.
Which hints the reason why, like, once they got rid of Dark Dynamite, you don't get those practice sessions. You don't get those runs in.
Right.
And to where if you're not getting those runs in, especially on camera to see how you look on camera, how you're bumping, it's kind of like you kind of feel like you're stuck a little bit. Yeah. And maybe this is all speculation. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. AEW women could be wrestling fucking 4 times a week in their own little like training facility. I know they still have the Nightmare Factory. That's what Cody has, his little training facility and whatnot.
And Ricky and Jade show up there and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know what their practice looks like or where they do practice at, but I will say that, like, yes, some of them definitely need the touch-ups. I just think that we're learning in real time. I think you're your promotion that's what, 4 years old, 5 years old. Mm-hmm. You're still going through the training wheel bumps, unfortunately. I could think, and I would only think that you would just get better from here.
Hopefully, yeah. No, and I as much as I'm known as a hater or whatever, I'm gonna try to hit everything as unbiasedly as possible. I don't want anybody I don't want anybody to fail. It's not like I want AEW to fail and just all these people have to go back.
For the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's good. I just need consistency from a lot of different aspects. Like to go back to the women's stuff. Like for example, like when they did have Jade, wasn't that weird that she never like, even though she had the Goldberg record, she never shared any camera time with Britt or Thunder. Like she was never with the big girls, but yet you're pushing her as the Cena, but like she's not mingling with the actual 5-star women that you have. It's weird.
I thought it was weird too.
It's
I thought
weird
it was
things
weird.
like that, and it's like TK just like he needs help with the booking. He shouldn't be doing it all by himself. Because I mean, yeah, I was going to say something rude. He needs help with some help with the booking, because it's like, dude, I don't know. You can't do it. You need a writing team. Like, you don't need to have like WWE type writers where people are writing everybody's promos or something. But you need to spitball with somebody, bro. Like, just.
And I think that like that's the creative freedom for everybody is also the detriment to like AEW. Is that like you give everybody so much creative freedom that like it's kind of hard to like hone it in on everybody.
Exactly, because not everyone can freestyle. But
exactly.
I might be able to write a good song, but that doesn't make me a good freestyler.
Right. And then you end up with certain things that look weird on camera. And no shade to anybody. But when Hager come out with the bucket hat, it's like, I see y'all and anybody do anything. And the bucket hat didn't hurt nobody, but it was just like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully they figure it out. It's still, like I said, early stages of, AEW.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, they've done pretty well for being such an early promotion. Most people don't last this long. Actually, nobody lasted this long. I'm keeping it a buck.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the fact that Impact and TNA is still
alive.
Yeah, like, and kudos to them, and
like,
which is dope.
And this is why I love just like wrestling in general. Like the wrestling ecosystem is at a point where it's never been before.
Yeah.
So many different options, so many different channels, so many different things to where like you don't like this product, you can watch this product. You don't like that product, there's one more over here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, being force fed, just WWE product and seeing Cena go on Super Cena runs and you have something else. It's okay. It's okay for somebody to tell me you don't like WWE, you don't like WWE, or you don't like AEW. I'm fine with that. Just don't bash like the culture.
Yeah, it's the tribalism shit.
Yeah, like you can watch what you want to watch, bro. I would never be under somebody's post talking about this is why WWE is better.
Yeah,
absolutely fucking not. Just gonna wrap it up real quick. So we're getting pushed. Swerve vs. Hangman 3. We talked about that. Watch Rampage a little bit. Rampage is really easy to digest. It's only like an hour of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Private Party, one of my favorite tag teams. I love Private Party. I love Top Flight. I love seeing like young talent like get pushed and want to get pushed, and they get a lot of TV time.
Yeah,
and rightfully so. They're really nice.
Yeah, they just got to stay
They're
healthy
just young.
Because Top Flight, like one of them always gets hurt for whatever reason.
I mean, fuck, the name's Top Flight.
Yeah. I mean, like it's good, and and I root for anybody black except for Swerve, but
you don't like Swerve?
No, man. I mean, I used to like Swerve. He don't like black.
What?
He don't like niggas, so I don't like him. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
but I mean, hey, the Prince Nana, I'll do that all day. I got that on my playlist. I swear when I drive.
The swear when I drive is crazy. Okay,
but no, yeah, I like. Yeah, no, they have a good crop. They have a good talent of young guys. They just got to stay healthy. It's just it's hard to do when you live in when they work at a promotion that where it's like it's okay to go balls to the wall every single match. Like honestly, like if Darby's able to walk in 20 years, I will be surprised.
This is true. From an angle of like health or like superstar talent, y'all be going through some shit.
Yeah, it's just like and it's like
that's what they want to do though. Yes, but at the same time, you got to protect people from themselves at some time.
Exactly, because like
I think that was, if we're getting into that was like the whole Punk Jungle Boy thing. Like, bro, don't use real glass.
Yeah, like,
we don't need to use real glass. Like,
yeah, it ain't that.
The whole Crimea River is like, bro, I don't want you to lacerate your fucking neck. Like,
right, exactly. Hey, but that Crimea River changed the game.
Oh yeah, it shifted shit.
Man, if I had a what if time machine, just like what if he didn't do that?
Like, what if we took the advice?
Like, man, like
you never get it.
No, and there's a lot of people there, like Billy Gunn and like a couple of the older heads, were like, yeah, man, these young cats just never come for advice, and usually the advice is just slow down a little bit, like,
right,
like why are you rushing, sprinting, like. It's very indie-rific, but also that's the niche. That's the crowd that they wanted. That's the crowd that they got. So it's like I understand that.
You got to think when you was like 22, 23, or 18, 19, you're not listening to nobody. You think you're on top of the world until you get a fucking herniated disc and you're like, okay, Billy, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's talk for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember when it was like, oh yeah, your metabolism is going to slow down. I'm like, please, I'm gonna have this 6-pack forever.
Forever. What you talking about?
I had a kangaroo pouch the last like 7 years.
Oh fuck. Okay. Oh yeah, Private Party Top Flight's great. Sammy Guevara did a promo, and the funny thing when I see Sammy Guevara is that him and Dom remind me of like the same character. I think like they have the same theme of what they want their characters to be. I think Dom's of course doing a lot better than Sammy, but I do like Sammy's wrestling better than like Dom's, respectfully. Let's see. His promo is going after Hobbs, so in the future you're going to see a Sammy G match versus Will Hobbs. I love Powerhouse Hobbs.
Big Black and Jack, baby.
Big Black and Jack is a crazy shirt.
Man, we'll never.
It's a crazy shirt. Never. But I want it. Yeah. I want the shirt, but I never.
Honestly,
Big Black and Jack is crazy.
Yeah, that shit is wild. But it's not as wild as it's not as wild as a woman, a white woman with a black eye on the shirt.
That's also true too. But it's funny because like the context behind it is like, oh, she got that in the match, right. But you can't wear that nowhere, man.
No, I mean,
I can't put that on. Like that's crazy.
I get crazy looks wearing this LOW shirt, and you know, it's like I could like. It's like it's wrestling, you guys. He's like, why are you wearing a
wrestling? I'm just
shirt?
supporting.
I'm like, I love my Latinos.
I'm not, he's Dominican. He's like, nah, bro. I just it's like this. Then we have inside here, just wrapping it up. Willow Nightingale versus Queen Aminata. Willow is one of my favorite wrestlers. I watched her in Dark. She was really somebody that I enjoyed watching.
Willow is dope, and I haven't seen much of Queen's in-ring work, but I've been following her. I mean, I've seen some because I started following her like literally 2-3 years ago because I was like, oh, who's this? Okay, who's this beautiful black woman in African gear and shit? So it's really cool that she's getting time to shine. It's just she's not winning any matches. And but until then, you know, I'm two beautiful black women. I'm here for it. So
absolutely, Willow's great. In my notes for Queen Aminata, it said I would like to see more of her. Yeah, more promos, more character work, that kind of thing. They have Stokely as a great manager. Stokely's fucking hilarious. One of the ones I think WWE kind of let slip because he was fucking. He's good. Yeah, no, I like a good manager.
Yeah, they fumbled that bag a little bit. Yeah, a great manager does. Yeah, it's wild because the art of the manager almost like it seemed like it was dying for a long time. Like,
oh yeah, I mean, for sure.
Like we had Lana, who was cool, and then finally Paul Heyman came back. But yeah, for the longest time, it felt like the manager was a dying role. And I'm like, it's a key role. Like, you need good managers.
Even like Leo Rush with Bobby was. I liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, it smelled like money. It was annoying. Like he irritated me, but it was a good. Like he was doing his job. He was supposed to irritate.
That was his job. Next week it sets up Willow Stat versus Ruby and Paige. I will definitely tune in to watch that. I think that'd be a really good match.
That should be fun.
Last match of the night for Rampage was the cross promotion match with CMLL. Versus, or not CMLL, but it was CMLL Luchas versus Christopher Daniels, Matt Sydal, Angelo Parker, Daddy Magic. There's one dude in here that if you watch anything from AEW, there's a dude called Hechiro. He's a magician, technical wrestler. His gimmick is that he's a magician, luchador, and in his wrestling style, it's the most technical shit ever. It's so fucking creative and like cool to see. Yesterday he had a match with Daniel on Collision, but check him out. Okay. It's unique.
I will try to check the Daniel match because he's somebody on my list of people who don't really miss.
No, Daniel don't miss.
No, he can wrestle a cardboard box and put on a 6-star match.
Daniel was one of the ones that like you can tell that like his time in WWE, he did whatever he did the best that he could. But once he got to AEW, he was able to wrestle like, you know, Japan, you know, other promotions. Like he just has the most fun with it. Like, yeah, I'm not saying his AEW work is better because it's not, but I will say that he's having the most fun just being a wrestler, like
that
backyard style wrestling.
He's having fun doing what he wants, but
exactly.
But we like just like what we said earlier. Sometimes you got to protect people from themselves because
no,
that man,
for sure,
like
for sure,
like breathe. Get your husband. This man is like I don't know why he was cleared to wrestle a match with a broken eye bone. I mean,
the orbital socket,
like all this other stuff, like the first Okada match, like bro, just you gotta chill down, just bro,
just relax, bro. You like Dan got at least like 45, 46 maybe. Like, there's no way you should be like.
I don't think he's
pushing this hard. You don't think so?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know he wants to retire in this next year because he wants to raise his daughter, but or whatever, and that's noble. 42. Okay, yeah. See, that's not that bad. Like, he technically still could be in his prime if he wanted to, but he's like, he's wrestling balls to the wall because it's something he hasn't been able to do for a long time. He's been in WWE landscape for the last like 15 years or plus before, until he went to AEW. So I know I get it, but bro, you're not going to be able to raise your daughter if you keep wrestling like this, bro.
It's looking out for like the health side of it. Like, a lot of y'all got to like slow down. Even Mox to a point, like Mox, I get you. You want to bleed every match. You want to go balls to the wall, but you got to like think about like your future. And they do. We're just two dudes talking about wrestling. They know what the fuck they're into,
Well, I mean, shit. Mox was supposed to take a vacation.
For sure,
long ass time ago. If it until that first CM Punk thing happened, and he is still yet to take a break. If I was Renee, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Can we please go on vacation?
You go home, bro. So definitely check that out. Even from the aspect, even if like you don't want to watch it like all the way through, there are some key matches that are very important. Mm-hmm. They're really nice to see. Definitely check out the Daniel match on Collision. That was I'm gonna check that out too.
Okay.
But we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna end it with here. To everybody watching and tuning in, thank you for tuning in. I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all enjoyed the episode for sure. Hero, you want to throw out your socials? That way they can follow you if you want to.
It's Heroic Rager. At Heroic Rager. I think on all socials actually. So. And maybe on Instagram. I'll figure that out. I'll get my tags up next episode for you guys.
Get your tags up. I'll add them to like the details of the episode so that people can follow you for sure. I have my stuff down there as well. If y'all have any questions about what we said, please interact. I will definitely answer y'all questions in the most non-biased way possible.
Yeah, we're here to have fun and talk and communicate.
Yeah,
that's why I usually say something respectful, no disrespect until I start disrespecting.
Absolutely, and there's gonna be those moments. It's all right.
No, it's all fun again. I don't want no beef with no wrestlers. Swear, do not come after me until you learn how to dress, please.
Oh my God. And with that, we gonna get out of here. I hope y'all had a good time. Hope y'all enjoyed. This is the Monday Night Wave. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Peace.